Ever have that one friend who loves something you know nothing about? Something you wish they could explain better? Well, this isn't that show. Welcome to Drunk Fandom, the show where we have a drunk host explain something they love to a sober guest who is clueless.
Drunk Fandom contains swears and other not safe for work content. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. The Fierce Ferrets do not condone excessive drinking, but if you do, please drink responsibly. Enjoy the show!
Hello, welcome to Drunk Fandom. Today we're talking about Locke and Key, the comic, not the TV show, apparently.
Well, so we wanted to release this before the TV show came out, but this year's been nuts. Everyone, 2020, boo.
Yeah. Low-key fuck 2020. Anyway, I'm Daekon, by the way, and I'm here with a drunk bat.
Bat, a.k.a. Jen, a.k.a. the Bat Clam. Bat for short. That's me. Me.
So what are you drinking tonight?
By now I have drunk 4 Twisted Teas, the superior alcoholic beverage. Twisted Tea, if you want to sponsor me, just saying, I will support your beverage a million bajillion %. Unfortunately, I have run out of Twisted Tea, so now I am drinking just Coke and vodka, because I am lame.
Slightly off topic.
I am weak. Weak!
Slightly off topic, but speaking of the whole Twisted Tea thing, did you know that Arizona is coming out with a series of hard teas?
Twisted Tea is better. Unless they change their formula. Let me tell you something. I drank Arizona all throughout high school. Ever since drinking Twisted Teas, none of those teas hold up. Twisted Tea could make a non-alcoholic version superior to all the teas.
I mean, that's fair.
In the tea war, Twisted Teas would win. Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag but interested in sponsor opportunities.
But I will say that it's supposed to be a hard green tea, which I'm interested in.
I've never had green tea. I'm not... In terms of hot teas, like, I can't do them. They taste like water to me. So, I don't know. We'll have to see.
But, anyway, slight derailment. I should probably tell you what I know about...
Tell me.
Locke
what
and
do you
Key.
know? Well, I'm supposed to ask. What do you know about Locke and Key, the comic? I don't know. Have you watched the show? I hope
No.
Not. Good. That's good, because, like, obviously the show takes material from the comic, so that's good. What do you know about it? Anything?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Not a single
Zero?
thing.
I think that's a Drunk Fandom first, where you have nothing to... Do you even know the core premise, or, like...
Nope. Nothing.
The genre?
I
Do you know the genre?
I have heard the name Locke and Key, and that is it. I am
Holy
completely blind
crap.
as to what this is.
So, Locke and Key is the comic that got me into reading comics. Once upon a time, when Leia and I both had jobs, they had a friend who was like, hey, check out this comic. And it's a spooky comic. And Leia was like, hey, Jen, check this comic out. And I read it, and I'm like, I need to read comics. This is amazing. It is to date and this was back in 2015. I think it's 2015. When did this come out? There's no date. I'm pretty sure it's 2015 is when I read it. I actually think it came out earlier than 2015. I'm actually going to send you, for Valentine's Day, Leia actually got me the collector's box of the series.
Oh,
we
really?
didn't own it before. And once I read it, I'm like, I'm in love with this comic. And so she actually bought me for Valentine's Day. It's the collector's edition. There's 2 doors on each side. There's the main door to Key House, and then on the back, I believe, is the ghost door to Key House. Because those are the 2 most, like, important doors in the series. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm trying to send you pictures, but my internet's being terrible.
I will trust you that they are the most important thing, because I have no idea.
Let's see. Hold on. Trying to... Ferret Squad connecting! Oh no, an unknown network error has occurred.
RIP.
Okay, we're gonna try sending one at a time. It's important this goes through. I'm gonna be sending you pictures periodically because there are some things that I really can't describe without art.
Okay.
So to preface this, The reason you're about to love Locke and Key is because it's an eldritch horror comic book.
Oh my
It's
God.
about eldritch horrors. That is the big reason you were about to love this, because I know how much you love eldritch horror.
I do.
I know. And it is amazing. It is one of the most brilliant takes on eldritch horror I've seen in years. That's the collector's edition.
That's
and
really pretty.
I'm most bothered. I love this series, but there are a handful of things I'm bothered about. One of them being, I'm about to show you. I know the podcast people can't see this. Each book is a black binded book, except for volume 4 is white binded, and it angers me to this day. Volume 4 has a white
that's done
binding.
For a reason.
It is! I know the reason, but I'm mad about it. I will explain to you the reason, but I'm mad about it. Actually, I think you can see it's called Keys to the Kingdom. Oh, wait! I thought Volume 4 was Crown of Shadows. Never mind, there's no reason, and now I'm just mad. Crown of Shadows is Volume 3. So
What's
Volume
irritating
4...
me about this picture is that there is an even number. So with this being volume 4,
Yes!
it's uneven on each side. So there's 3 and then 2 that are black binded.
I know. There are 6 volumes to this comic. It is, and let me tell you something. This comic is perfect because it's not too long and it's not too short. There's at no point where I felt like, wow, this comic is dragging on.
Oh, so it doesn't overstay its welcome.
It doesn't. It's perfect. I don't think it should be longer, and I don't think it should be shorter. Perfect. And you know what else? You know how horror stories always end terribly?
Yes.
This comic has a bittersweet but happy and perfect ending. Perfect.
Okay.
And that is rare from me. And so I'm gonna warn readers now, if you're interested in the TV show, because the TV show is based on this series, there are spoilers for the show. I'm not gonna lie. However, the show does take a drastically, like, I'm upset about it, story arc than this book. And let me tell you something, I'm easy to please. I love seeing different takes on shows, but the TV show, if you read the comic, fucking sucks compared to the comic books. And I never say that, but it fucking sucks, and I was very upset.
That's almost true of every, like, visual medium based
But you know what? I've never thought that way. Every show I've ever watched, I'm like, wow, this is better than the books. Game of Thrones, better than the books. Witcher, better than the books. This is the first one where I'm like, holy shit, the books are better. The TV show did a handful of things right, and those are the things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about nothing else. Nothing else I'm going to bring up about the show. I'm going to talk about the handful of things they did right and wrong. So, there will be some spoilers, but they're very minor. However, in terms of, like, there's a certain identity in this story that is very spoilery. So if you really want to watch the show, I recommend watching that before you listen to this, because...
Also, just for the record, this entire show is spoilers, so
yeah,
if you plan
like,
on reading this at all...
But if you listen to this podcast, you can still watch the show and be surprised. They change a lot of stuff, they really do. One more warning before I get into it. There's going to be 3 points during this I will cry. I will.
Okay.
I've been crying all day about it because I was re-going over my notes. I'm going to cry tonight, and I'm drunk, so hopefully it won't be worse than how I cried.
I mean,
but
look,
this show,
I'm okay with it. I cried during Kingdom Hearts.
This book touches the feels so hard. Okay, let's get started. If you notice in my screenshots, I have a, like, Locke bookmark from Cardcaptor Sakura.
Yes.
Let me tell you something about this show. It's called Locke and Key. It is about a bunch of magical keys that work in this house called Key House. That's the big thing. It's actually about a bunch of magical keys, but the keys only work in certain locks. So there was a lock and key, like, dynamic. Exactly. Now, do you remember in Resident Evil how I started from the very beginning?
Oh god, yeah.
In this book, I can't do that or it spoils the whole thing. So I'm gonna start where the comics start off. And you will understand what I mean as I go on. Are you ready for this journey? This comic series won an Eisner. For people who don't know what an Eisner is, an Eisner is the Oscar awards for comic books.
Yeah.
This series won an Eisner. It is made by the son of Stephen King. Stephen King's son made this comic series.
Oh, so he's a better writer than his dad then.
He is 100%. Because he knows how to end shit. And 100%, unfortunately, as much as I love this series, this is a trigger warning. It does involve several very Stephen King-esque tropes. The F slur is mentioned. Yes, the R slur is mentioned. They even make, like, a tranny joke at one point. And they make several, again, trigger warnings. They do make several rape references. That being said, I did still love this series despite those. And that says a lot, because, especially with, like, sexual assault, I'm very sensitive to that, and I still loved it. They did a very good job. Are you ready? We're about to get started.
I think so.
Okay. In the beginning, each book is signatured and labeled by the keys it represents. Now, at the end of each book, they actually tell you about all the keys of Key House. There are several keys of Key House, and you'll understand what that means very soon. So the first book is very much about the Ghost Key and the Echo Key. Let's begin. So, in the introduction, we are greeted with a scene of a tiny cottage in a field. Two men approach this cottage, and they are looking for a man named Rendell Locke. We are introduced to the Locke family. There are 5 members of this family: a husband, Rendell Locke, a wife, Nina Locke, and 3 children. The oldest, Tyler Locke, who's about 17, Kinsey Locke, who I want to say is 15, and Bode Locke, who is 9. These are the main characters. So in the beginning, 2 men approach the Locke house. They're like, hello, we're looking for Rendell Locke. Rendell Locke is a guidance counselor at a high school. And these are actually some students of the school. We are then time skipped to a funeral in which Rendell Locke has died.
Well, that's a juxtaposition.
So these 2 men, we are greeted with several scenes of what's going on, and a lot of this is through the oldest son, Tyler Locke's memory. So these two, I shouldn't even say men, because they're really high school students. One is named Sam Lesser. The other, what the hell is it? He's like never brought up again, because he just dies and is forgotten. Just these 2 guys. Even in the TV show, he doesn't exist. That's how like forgettable and unimportant he is. Sam Lesser is the more important guy. He is actually a student of the school in which Rendell Locke teaches. And he comes and he actually kills Rendell Locke. And it's this whole event. We see this funeral. In which Tyler Locke is kind of sitting and people are trying to talk to him, but he's just in such a daze. His dad just died. And Sam Lesser came to their house, and shot him. Now, this is one of those scenes. I'm trying to not bring up the TV show too much, but I gotta tell you, like, Sam Lesser is a very interesting character. He's gonna be throughout this a bit. He goes to jail for shooting Rendell Locke. And I gotta tell you, the TV show portrays him so much better. In the TV show, he's just this, like, really poor, misunderstood student. In the comics in which we're talking, he's this weird hillbilly asshole. That's the juxtaposition they do. It's actually one of the few things the TV show did so much better. Anyway. So, Sam Lesser came and shot Rendell. At some point, his friend, trigger warning, like, sexually assaults Nina. It's really weird. It's so much better in the TV show. But in any case, this whole event happens. They try to kill the kids, but the kids hide well enough. In any case, Rendell dies, which is the most important part. So, we're kind of slowly shown this throughout the book. There's kind of a bunch of flashbacks. But after Rendell dies, it's just Nina and the 3 kids. And they've been left in Rendell's will, Key House. So Rendell's last name is Locke, and the Locke family own this house called Key House. Fitting, right?
I guess.
So Nina, with how distraught she is, her husband got murdered, she was assaulted, it's this whole thing, by some fucking high school kids, it's this whole thing. She's a wreck, and she's like, you know what, we're gonna move to Key House, we're gonna get away from where we are. I think they're in Massachusetts? I don't know. But they move state lines to this new place to start anew after everything that happened. So the kids go to a new high school, and she moves to Key House. Throughout all of this, Rendell's brother Duncan helps them. Duncan is a wonderful character. He's actually gay. He has a partner named Brian. Yes, it's really great representation apart from events later I'm going to talk about. So they move to Key House, and they're like, listen, I know you kids are sad about your dad's death. We're going to start anew. We're going to go to a new place where people aren't going to pity us, and it's going to be this weird thing about how your dad died, because he was the guidance counselor. So it just became the talk of the town that this guidance counselor got murdered by a high school student. This whole thing. So they moved to Key House, and they're like, okay, we're going to start anew here. And it's going to be great, and we're going to move on. And Duncan kind of helps them a lot. And it's weird, because they talk to Duncan, and they're like, so what can you tell us about your childhood here? And Duncan's like, it's kind of a blur. I don't remember a whole lot. Like, it was a neat house, I guess. And that's weird. I don't know about you, but that's weird to me. That is. And that's gonna be important later.
That is like a crimson flag.
Right. So oh, I just dripped alcohol everywhere.
No.
I'm very drunk. Alright. So we're gonna start off. A lot of book 1 takes place from the youngest 9-year-old Bodhi's perspective. Now, I never knew how to pronounce Bodhi until the TV show. So it proved I was right. It's Bodhi. Cause Leia tried to be like, no, it's Bode, and I'm like, no, it's Bodhi, fuck you. And I was right. So, young Bodhi. Oh my god. I'm gonna show you, hold on, this is one of the, I actually wrote in my notes when to take screenshots. So Bodhi starts having problems immediately, because he's at this new school, and, you know how school psychologists are like, hey kid, you went through a traumatic event. How can we help you? Where the fuck is it?
Yeah.
He draws this comic. He has a school assignment where they're like, tell us about your summer!
Oh my god. I feel like...
Oh no, where is it? Fuck, I didn't write the page number down. He draws this comic. It's you feel bad because you know a child drew it, but you're like laughing your ass off. Oh no, where is it? But he draws this comic where he's like, a bunch of bad men shot daddy, but then we killed the bad men, so it was fine. And his teacher is like, hey, a lot of kids were disturbed by this. Maybe don't have your kid draw these comics in the future. Because, you know, the guy who I mentioned who came with Sam Lester, he died. Oh, here it is, I found it. I'm gonna send you. It's so bad. I just look at this kid. I love Bodhi so much. Let me tell you something. A lot of stories, don't portray kids right. Locke and Key, it portrays children perfectly. Perfectly. So this is the comic. It's loading. He gives his teacher. So the teacher goes to Mrs. Locke and he's like, hey, maybe your kid needs some therapy because this is not good. It's, so anyway.
I like how it's all like it's kind of like all light and bright and sunny. All of these pictures.
Bodhi's basically like, it's fine. Like, they came and killed Daddy, but it's cool because we killed them, and now we live in Key House. Oh, and I became a ghost, which we're gonna talk about. So, while this is all happening, we learn a little about Sam Lester. Sam Lester. Now, his friend he did all this with dies, and we kind of, like, never hear about him again. He's really a pointless character. And there's not a lot of those, but he's one of them. He just existed to basically, like, trigger warning, like, sexual assault Nina. That was, like, his whole purpose. Yeah. And that's where you look at it and go, like, oh, here's the Stephen King influence. Let me tell you something. If Joe Hill ever listens to this, I love you. Your dad sucks, though. If by some miracle either of you ever listen to this, I like you more than your dad. Anyway, so Sam is in prison, and he's like, well, this sucks. I was told I was gonna get better from this. And then he starts talking to his toilet, And there's a magical woman in his toilet, and she's like, "Hey, here's..."
Wait, no.
There's a magical woman in his toilet. And she's like, "Hey, here's a pair of scissors and a mirror." And he's like, "Sweet." So he uses the mirror to watch when a guard comes near, and he uses the scissors and stabs the shit out of this guard and escapes the prison. So he's escaped out of prison.
Wait.
Yeah.
I need a minute, because you tried to brush past that real fast. So, a woman in his toilet.
Yes, it's a magical woman in his toilet who gives him a pair of scissors and a mirror.
Okay.
She wears a green dress, and her name is Dodge, and that's all I can say right now.
Okay.
And he's talking to her, and he's like, "What the fuck? You said everything would be fine when I killed Rendell." And she's like, "Listen, I love you. Here's how we're gonna escape, and we're gonna do more, and it's fine." And you know how El Jator is, so he obviously listens to it, because why not?
Yeah, of course.
So he escapes prison. And now we're gonna meet... I know I'm going really fast. Book 1 is really weird, where they don't explain a lot. I'm gonna tell you right, Book 1 does not explain a lot. Book 1 is kind of weird, but at the same time, you're so enthralled, you don't ask questions. It calms down more in Volume 2. And we're gonna go by volume. So we're still in Volume 1. So back at Locke House, we have Nina the mom, and she's trying to keep the kids together, and she's like, "Hey, it's fine. New school, new life, it's cool. It's fine." And we have the 3 kids, Tyler, the oldest, Kinsey, the middle child, and Bodhi, the youngest. So we're seeing from Bodhi's perspective for most of this book. Now,
Okay.
we do learn that Tyler is kind of a loner, where he's like, "I'm the oldest, I'm gonna graduate soon, this sucks going to a new school." Kinsey, who's like, "Well, I'm like in the middle of high school, I could reinvent myself, I guess I'll be the normal kid." She tries to be normal and fits in. And Bodhi, who's like, "I'm 9, and I don't understand anything." So Bodhi's like kind of exploring the house, because he's 9. And he actually finds this key. And it has a little skull on it. And he's like, "This is cool." And he starts trying it in different doors. And the pictures I sent you, he tries it on this door to the outside. It's called the ghost... It's called the ghost door and the ghost key.
Okay.
So he tries it on this door, and he walks through it, and he dies.
What?
He dies immediately. But he becomes a ghost! And he's like, "Whoa, I'm a ghost now," and he flies around. And whenever he thinks about his siblings, he appears there as a ghost, and listens to them, and hears how sad they are, and he kind of floats around. And then eventually he goes back to his body, and then boom, he's alive again. He's like, cool. Because he's 9.
Okay.
So that happens. So the Locke family's trying to live in peace, right? And Bodhi tries to show his siblings, "Look at this cool key I found. I get to die when I walk through the door."
I get to die.
And they think he's like playing around, and like, you know how in like Bugs Bunny they like dramatically fake their death? So
Yeah.
Kinsey and Ty watch him do this, and they're like, "Stop being a dumb 9-year-old, Bodhi," and they don't believe him at all. So Kinsey is like watching him do this, and then he wakes up after being a ghost, and he's like, "Whoa, like this guy is here, and his name is Born at Night, and he's telling us about things about Sam Lester." And Kinsey is like, "Stop being stupid, Bodhi." Meanwhile, Nina has just answered the door, and a man named Detective Mutsuku has arrived at their door. I want you to know that from this point on, I'm gonna refer to him as Plot Device Detective.
Okay.
Because as much as I love this book series, this guy has no purpose other than to be a plot device. And Joe Hill, if by some miracle you're listening to this, I love you, but he's a fucking plot device, and you could have done better. This is the one criticism I have of this entire series, is this character. He's a black man who could have been utilized for so much more. But I love you, and you're actually really amazing, and please forgive me. Anyway! So Nina talks to the detective, and he's like, hey, listen, I'm here because Sam Lesser, the guy who killed your husband, just escaped from jail. So they're caught on right away to this, by the way, that he's escaped out of jail. So they leave police detectives overnight, and Nina is like, that's a weird name, Mutuku, what does it mean? And he's like, oh, it means born at night. It's like an African tribe thing, which, by the way, you can tell that's Stephen King's influence. Stephen King has this dumbass habit of, like, trying to be inclusive of, like, other cultures while failing at it.
Yeah.
This is a Stephen King thing right here. Because, again, he is the plot device detective. And you're gonna see every step of the way why he is the plot device detective. So Kinsey later is talking to her mom, like, oh, there's a detective here? And she's like, yeah, Detective Mutuku came here, like, we're gonna have, police officers sitting outside, we're gonna be fine. And she's like, Mutuku, what does that mean? And she's like, he told me it means born at night, because I asked about that, it's a weird name, because of course they did, right?
Yeah.
Of course you'd ask about that. And now Kinsey is like, holy shit, Bodhi said that. So now she's kind of catching on to, like, he might be telling the truth. Again, plot device detective.
Yeah.
That's what I'm referencing. Anyway, he does show up later, that's why he gets a special name. He's plot device detective. Okay!
He introduces the major plot devices.
Oh my god, he does so much. He moves the story at points where nothing else could. He is plot device detective. So, anyway, the rest of the book is a lot about, like, introducing characters, weird high school events. So Kinsey, they really don't introduce any other keys in this book, which is disappointing, but it's fine. They actually, like, you don't think about it till after. It's paced really well, but we mostly kind of see, like, the ghost key, I feel like, in this book, more than any other key. Like, I don't think we even see any other keys, actually. Anyway, oh shit, you're right, the echo key does come up. You're correct. I lied. The echo key is extremely important, that's how drunk I am. Anyway, so...
Paying attention.
You are! So, now we're gonna focus a little bit on Kinsey. So Kinsey's at school, and Kinsey is constantly crying and or depressed. She's 15, her dad just died. It is 1,000% understandable why she is a mess. Exactly! But she's talking to the coach, Coach Ellie, who is incredibly important later. Ellie is talking to her, I forget why, she's like upset and crying in the hall, and Ellie's like, hey, are you okay? And while they're talking, Ellie notices this bracelet she has on, and she's like, that's a neat bracelet. And Ellie's like, yeah, my dad gave it to me. He mentioned it's like, what was it? It's a memento of being able to go anywhere. And as they zoom in on the bracelet, you can literally see a key in the bracelet. Ellie very much notices this, and you can tell, like, Ellie is someone special. She fucking knows about the keys. Anyway, it's a very small, unimportant event until later. It's the only reason why I'm bringing it up. It shouldn't be important, but you can tell it is, because Ellie is like, I see that fucking key. I see it. So anyway, now we're back on Bodhi. And Bodhi is having these weird dreams.
From, being a ghost?
No, he's not a ghost actually right now. But yeah, I mean, you'd think.
But...
You'd think. Actually, he's having dreams about ghosts. His dad is coming to him in his dreams. Oh, wait, I lied. I can't bring that up yet. I forgot the most important part. So while Bodhi is bored and exploring the house, he notices there's a well house on the property. So he goes to the well house, and he's bored and he's walking around, and he hears someone in the well.
Okay.
And so he calls down, and he's like, hello, hello, hello. And then someone calls back in a female voice, hello.
Oh, I've seen this movie before.
And he looks down, and he's like, hello? And she's like, hi, Bodhi. I'm your echo. And there's this lady in the well. And do you know who she looks like? The lady in the toilet.
Oh, gross.
And she's downstairs, and she's like, you know what, Bodhi? I wish I had a mirror, because I've been down here so long, I'm worried about my hair. Like, we can be best friends if you bring me one. And you start to see how Sam Lesser got that mirror.
Oh my god.
So Bodhi and the well lady become friends, and he talks to her every day. And then Bodhi starts having these dreams where his dad tells him the same knock-knock joke every night. And his dad has a fucking hole in his head, because, you know, he died being shot in the fucking eyeball.
Yeah.
And he starts having these dreams, and he starts asking everyone, where he's like, knock knock. Like, what happens after this knock knock joke? Like, someone tell me. And then, you know, Ty is like, I mean, it just sounds like you're echoing me. So eventually, Bodhi comes back to his Zwellity, and he's like, I'm starting to think you're not real. I'm starting to think you're just this weird echo. But then, like, you're not an echo of me, because you don't look like me, when you should if you're my echo. But she tries to convince him, like, oh, I'm your echo, Bodhi, it's fine. So, while Bodhi is going through all of this,
Wait a minute, so this 9-year-old puts that together?
Dude, all these kids in this are really fucking smart. Especially Ty. Ty is so underestimated for how smart he is, it's like not fair. Because Ty is a jock, and he's like actually super smart, and you're gonna see why. But yeah, Bodhi is actually like a pretty intelligent 9-year-old. But again, like, he has these dreams about his dad, and he's been asking everyone about these knock-knock jokes, and they're like, why are you echoing me? Because his dad's been trying to send him this message! And now he's like, oh shit, like, this woman who says she's my echo is lying, because she's not me. She's some weird lady in a well. So, in any case, they're going through all of this, and there are these cops parked outside the house trying to protect these people. And guess who shows up? Sam Lesser.
I was about to say Murder Man.
Murder Man Sam Lesser shows up. And he I forget why. Kinsey's out in the woods taking a walk. I think she was walking Bodhi before he went to the well house, and she's kind of trying to enjoy nature, but Sam jumps her, knocks her out. He gets in the house. Duncan is there helping Nina. He traps them in the wine cellar. There's no fucking wine cellar because it's a rich ass mansion. Key House is like a rich ass mansion.
Yeah.
But anyway, he traps them in the cellar. This is where I had to read my notes because it gets like super intense by the end of this book. But basically, Sam gets in the house and he locks Nina and Duncan, because Nina and Duncan are both in the winery, and Duncan's been talking to Nina about her alcoholism. So Nina's an alcoholic. It especially got worse, obviously, after her husband died. So Duncan's been trying to be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't hang out in the winery. He's been trying to help out since his brother died. His older brother died. Yeah. But they're both in the winery, and Sam locks them in. And he had knocked out Kinsey in the woods and dragged her over, and then he finds Ty and brings him over, and he's got a gun, I think. He's got some kind of a weapon. I don't remember. But he's basically like talking to Nina. He's like, hey, listen, I'm here for the Omega Key. You give it to me or I'm gonna kill your kids. So Nina is like, okay, you know, it's fine. It's upstairs in my bedroom drawer. Right, Ty? It's upstairs in my bedroom drawer. Now, Nina has no fucking idea what he's talking about. Keys? What are you, insane? She's giving a code to Ty that there is a gun in her bedroom drawer. Ty leads Sam up the stairs to the bedroom. He grabs this gun, and they have a scuffle. He tries to shoot him. They have this whole scuffle. She ends up dropping it, and Sam grabs the gun. By this point, they're downstairs. There's been this whole long chase scuffle.
Yeah.
And he beats Ty to death.
Okay.
But he beats Ty to death, and Ty falls through the ghost door. So Ty becomes a ghost temporarily. And he's really disoriented, and he's thinking about his family, so he's teleporting to where his family is, and he's watching events happen. It's like this weird dream. So Sam, thinking he just killed Ty, is like, well, that was inevitable. Time to go keep questioning Nina where this fucking key is, so I can appeal this ghost toilet lady. Because he's driving me insane. So he goes back to Nina, and he's like, so I killed your son. You gotta tell me where this fucking key is, or your daughter's next. Ty, in the meanwhile, who's a ghost, is like, fuck, I wish I were alive so I could save my family. So he teleports back to his body, and he gets up, and he's like, oh shit, I wasn't beat to death, I'm fine. So Ty gets up, and he chases after Sam. And Sam, who's still questioning Nina, gets jumped by Ty, who had grabbed the gun that that Ty had. Sam had the gun Ty had. That's why I don't remember if he had a gun before, because I know there's like one gun involved.
Yeah.
It's a little weird to keep track of, but he ends up dropping the gun while they're scuffling. Kinsey now wakes up after being knocked out by Sam, picks up the gun, and shoots Sam in the neck. So Sam runs off, like, bleeding from his neck. And Ty and them, Ty's checking them like, are you okay? Mom, are you okay? He's checking on everyone. This whole time, Bodhi, who's been in the well house, and was like, hey, you're not my Echo, you're just some weird lady in a well. The well lady comes out of the well, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, Bodhi's like, who are you? And she's like, you know, I'm your nightmare, or some emo shit. But she comes out of the well, and she tries to grab Bodhi, and it's this whole thing. But, hold on, because I feel like I'm forgetting an important part. That's right. Remember Kinsey's bracelet key?
Yes.
Bodhi had grabbed that at one point, because I think he was told to bring that to her. So he steals that and he brings that over. I feel like I'm gonna double check, because where are my fucking notes on this? But very like important. Hold on. Oh my god. Yes, here it is. Found it. So yeah, so she had asked Bodhi. Yeah, she had asked Bodhi to bring her this bracelet because she knew this key was in it. It's called the Anywhere key. So he brings this to her when he's trying to understand, because he thinks she's his friend. He's 9. So he thinks all this time she's his friend, but then he's kind of like, but you're not this Echo like I thought you were. You're something else. And in the bracelet is this key. It's called the Anywhere key. When you stick it in a door, it can bring you to anywhere you can visualize.
Okay.
So he brings her this key, and then he's kind of like, I don't think you're my Echo. You know, we're kind of flashing back. This is like, I don't think you're my Echo. I think you're something else, and I don't know if I trust you. So she actually tries to kill Bodhi. She tries to grab him, and he's able to get out of her grasp. I forget completely why. But there's a door in the well house to, like, a closet, so she uses the Anywhere key on that, and she leaves. So she has now escaped the well house.
Okay.
Yeah. And on her, she has 2 keys and a little satchel around her neck now. She has the Anywhere key and another key with 2 faces facing each way, a boy face and a girl face. So she uses this key and she becomes a man. And after this, she uses the Anywhere key to go back to Key House. And she sees Sam Lesser, who's been shot in the neck and is like hobbling, he's trying to live. And he sees her. And he recognizes it's her even though it's a man. And, you know, she's like, oh, Sam. Like, you let me down, you know that? Like, you suck at this. So she drags him over to the ghost door, which is still open, from Bodhi using it earlier. And she's like, just remember, Sam, or he's like, just remember, Sam, I'm the only one who's ever loved you. Like, you're a piece of shit and everyone hates you. But I loved you. And he snaps his neck and throws him to the ghost door. So Sam is dead, but his ghost now haunts Key House.
Okay.
So in the end, Nina and Ty get out. They call the police. The police come. They find Sam Lesser's body, and they're like, well, case closed. He died falling down the stairs or something. Who knows? Because we're cops and we're bad at our job. And they think the threat is over. Some weird happenstance happen, and the well lady is now free. And she's a well man now. Yeah, it's good times. So, we're up to Volume 2 now. Volume 2 is really short, because a lot of it is just, like, teenage drama and teenage friends, and we're cool teens. Like, really, there's not a lot of interesting things that happen. So
it's like a majority of, like, Stranger Things season
2. Exactly. Actually, you know what? I lied. Volume 1 ends with one more thing. It's days after, they've calmed down from everything, and there's a new transfer student. His name is Zach.
Oh, God.
Guess who he is?
I have a feeling I know.
The well man. It's cool. He's this new transfer student named Zach, and guess who's staying with? Guess who he's staying with? Because he's totally their cousin. Coach Ellie. The one who recognized the Anywhere key. Any questions, comments?
So far.
So far about what you expect from an Eldritch Horror, am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Alright. So Volume 2. We meet drama teacher Joe Ridgway. So what's interesting is, Joe was introduced in the TV series, and I forgot who he is. And here's why. He's only in this book, and he dies, like, immediately. So, let's get into it. Joe Ridgway is an ancient-ass drama teacher. He is, like, in his 80s. He is fucking old. So, he's meeting all the kids. It's the new year. He's meeting the Locke kids. Then he meets Zach. He looks at Zach, and in his mind, he goes, I fucking know you. You're not new. You're lying. And he's like, well, time to look into this. And he looks at his school paperwork, and he sees Ellie wrote him in as like, oh, this is my cousin from, like, Ohio. And Joe is like, that's a fucking lie. So he calls the school Zach supposedly came from. And he's like, oh yeah, it lists here he's like a fencing prodigy? No, you've never heard of him? What a fucking shock! What a fucking shock! This transfer paperwork is a lie! Zach is onto this the whole way. He's using the Anywhere key to kind of like follow Joe. Because he passed Joe in the hallway, and he noticed Joe noticed who he is. So he visits Joe late at night. And he's like, you couldn't just let things, die, Joe, could you? And Joe looks at him, and he goes, hi, Luke. I knew it was you. It was hard to believe, because you look like the day I last saw you. But I knew it was you. And, he tries to tell Joe to back off. And Joe tries to hit him over the head with a glass and kill him, but Luke shoots him, or Zach shoots him. That's the thing, this guy goes by many names. He's gonna go by Zach, he's gonna go by Luke. It gets really confusing. So just remember that he is both Zach and Luke. You will understand why later. But he kills Joe. And he's able to use the Anywhere key to literally go anywhere. So he uses the Anywhere key to go back to Ellie, and he's like, Ellie, fucking need you right now. And Ellie, who is clearly the poster child of domestic abuse and trauma, helps him. And they cover it up, and they try to mask it as like a suicide. Oh, Joe shot himself in the chest. What a tragedy. You all know it's not what happened. But here we are. And one of the most important things Luke says to Joe, when Joe is like, how are you still alive, Luke? You were a high school student when I last saw you. How are you still a high school student? And Luke is like, you know what, Joe? Things would have been completely different if Rendell Locke didn't try to kill me. And he kills Joe.
Oh, what? Okay.
Yup. Rendell Locke, Tyler's dad, tried to kill this guy. We don't know why. We don't know why, Deacon! So, Ellie helps Zach clean up, like nothing ever happened, because Ellie is a poor, unfortunate soul who I feel so bad for. She is a sweetheart of a woman. She has this beautiful, handicapped child named Rufus. He's mentally ill. He is such a fucking sweetheart. His name is Rufus. And he is so important and beautiful and wonderful. And just, I love him so much. Rufus is a good boy. And Ellie's a good girl. She's just tortured. And it's so hard to not talk about right now. But anyway, I know it's hard to see she's a good girl right now because she helps the asshole well lady man. But she is. She really is. It's sad. Anyway. Back at Key House, Bodhi's found a new key. It's a key with a head with a brain in it. And he's like, that's weird. Where does this go? So the things about Key House keys is they go very specifically with certain locks. A key cannot work without its corresponding lock. So Bodhi is searching desperately for the lock for this fucking brain key. He can't find it until his uncle visits. He's helping Nina out. And while he's leaving, Bodhi notices on the back of his neck is a keyhole.
Oh, okay.
And Bodhi's like, well, that's weird. Do I have a keyhole? So anyway, Ty and Kinsey come home, and Bodhi's like, hey, I found this thing. Come see. You didn't believe me about... Oh, I forgot to mention the Mutuku thing. Shit, back in Volume 1. You know how I said Mutuku means born at night?
Yeah.
That was important because Kinsey was shown the whole ghost key thing. Bodhi was trying to show her the ghost key thing. But, you know, she can't see fucking ghosts. So she just sees him, quote-unquote, pretending to die, thinking he's, like, Bugs Bunnying it.
Yeah.
He's trying to show her he became a ghost, but she doesn't buy it. But when he wakes up from, like, quote-unquote, being a ghost, he's like, born at night is here. So later, when Kinsey is asking her mom about it, and she's like, who is here? And she's like, oh, this detective, Mutuku. Can you believe that means born at night? He's like, weird. And she's like, wait a fucking second. Bodhi said that. I forgot to mention that in Volume 1. I'm very drunk. Anyway, back to Volume 2. So Kinsey's kind of been slowly made aware that this is like a fucking thing.
Yeah.
So her and Ty come home from school, and Bodhi's like, I need to show you this thing! And they're like, come on, you fucking 9-year-old. We're high school students, and our life is tragic because we're high school students. Can you not? And he puts the key in the back of his own neck, unlocks it, and the top of his head comes off.
What the fuck? Okay.
Yes! The top of his head comes off, and they start screaming.
Is he dead?
No, he's just standing there. He's like, look what I did!
Okay.
And they're screaming. So their mom comes in, and she's like, what are you screaming about? And they point at Bodhi, who the top of his head is missing. And then she looks at him, and she looks back towards the kitchen, and she's like, shit, my fist sticks are burning. Bodhi, don't do that with the top of your head. Stop being a 9-year-old. I gotta prevent these fist sticks from burning. She leaves. And Ty and Kinsey are like, what the fuck, Mom? She is acting like nothing has happened, and the top of his head is missing. So Bodhi's like, look in my head! Look in my head! Look in my head! And they're like, alright, fine! Jesus! So they look in his head. And they see a beautiful carnival of emotions. And they see memories of their dad, and memories Bodhi has had. And then Bodhi is also there watching this. And they're like, how the fuck are you here when you're right here with your head open? And he's like, no, it's cool, I'm just looking at my own head. And they're like, what is happening? So he explains to them, I'm like, no, it's fine, it's this key, I can look at my memories and stuff. Isn't it cool? Because he's 9. He has no idea this is like,
Traumatic.
you know, traumatic. Right. And it's really wild because, like, hold on. Where's Volume 2? I'm gonna show you. So, this is one of those moments where we're talking about the show versus the comic. Here it is. In the show, I got very upset, but I understood because the budget for the show is not the same as a comic book. So in the show, rather than the top of their head disappearing, a door appears and they walk through the door, but it's not the same, and especially later it's not the same. I'll explain why. But in the comic, the top of their head opens, and you literally, I'm gonna send you a picture, you literally look inside of it, and you see all of their memories and their life, and it's so beautiful. So in the show, right, in the show, a door appears and they walk through it and they're in their head. It's like not the same. You can see how they're looking over the top of the skull. I mean? It's like really cool, and they see how they see life. And you can see Sam Lesser and the asshole by that house. You see what I mean? How they're drawn like the comic I showed you?
Yeah.
So it's like really cool how they show how a 9-year-old thinks. This book, like, even if you like and I really recommend if you're gonna watch the show before you read the comic, because it's so much drastically different, and I'm sorry, the comic's better. And I rarely say that. I like the Game of Thrones show more than the books. Comic is way better. 100% better. I forgive them on the head key because budgetary reasons, but it's a disappointment how they did the head key in the show. It really is. Anyway. So, the whole rest of the book's kind of about the head key. They kind of look at each other's memories. They talk about that a lot. Ty actually learns, he uses the head key. So Ty has been falling behind in school. And he's like, you know what? What happens if I shove this whole ethics book in my skull, with the head key having opened my head? So he does that. He puts the book in his skull, learns the whole book.
Okay, I wish I had that.
I know, right? Same. It's like the fucking Matrix. Learns the whole book. So, let me see. So, later, they're talking, and Ellie's like, you know what? We have to be very selective on who we tell about this. Right? And Ty is like, yeah, definitely. And the next day, he talks to his friends, he's like, hey, you want to see something cool? His friends, one of them being, well, lady fucking Zach. Well, lady fucking Zach becomes a very, very angering source in this book, because you as the reader know he's evil, but they don't, and it angers you to your core. So anyway, he's made best friends with Zach, who's the transfer student. He has another friend named Jordan, who is, like, half important. She has a moment way later that's, like, super touching and might make me cry. But right now, she's, like, this weird side character who he has a crush on. Anyway, he's like, hey, why don't you both come to my house after, and I'll show you this weird thing on how I learned the ethics paper super quick. So anyway, he shows Zach and this girl named Jordan about the keys. Jordan freaks out and runs away, being like, hey, stop fucking with me, you weirdo. And Zach, who's the well lady, is like, oh wow, that's so cool. Tell me more about these keys and where they are. Exactly. You just sigh because you're like, I know who you are as the reader, and I'm angry. Anyway, so Jordan runs off. Zach is like, wow, that's cool, you're all magic. And Kinsey is like, you know what? I want to love Kinsey, but Kinsey makes the dumbest fucking decision ever. And it ruins so much. She causes so much disaster because of this. Are you ready?
Sure.
So you know how the head key, you can open your head up and see things. You know what she thinks is a brilliant idea? She is tired of crying. She is tired of being scared. So she's like, you know what? Go in my head, take out my fear and my sadness, because I'm tired of them. Make me no longer afraid and no longer sad. So they take them out and they put them in a jar. And she hides it in her dresser drawer. So she's no longer afraid or can cry for a while. She takes him out. And that's the end of book 2, basically. That's the most important tidbits. Book 2 is really short because there's just so much random drama and, like, unimportant stuff. It's just kind of knowing the characters, yada yada.
Yeah.
Learning how Zach kind of fits in. I'm totally a transfer student. Fuck you, Zach. AKA Luke, you suck. Over you. Okay. We have been recording, I want to say for 40 minutes. Which
Something
is
like
10 minutes longer than I was expecting to get through the first 2 volumes. If you cut this, it's fine. Because volume 3 gets kind of long, but then volume 4 and 5 are the longest, obviously. So volume 3 is where shit really hits the fan. So, going briefly back to volume 2. There's an event that happens in volume 2 I didn't bother talking about because it doesn't get important until volume 3.
Okay.
So in volume 2, Duncan, who I mentioned is gay, he has a boyfriend named Brian. They go to a bar, and they piss off these 2 homophobes. Because again, the Stephen King influence.
Yep.
Trigger warning. Again, the F slur is dropped a lot. Because, you know, that has to happen, I guess, in a Stephen King-related book. So these 2 women are trying to, like, kill them by the end. They piss them off in a bar, it's whatever. So, Duncan was the brother of Rendell. So you'd think he'd know a lot of what's going on. For some reason, he doesn't know shit. However, when Ty introduces Zach to him, he pauses and kind of looks at Zach. And he thinks, I know you from somewhere, but I can't remember where. Like, I should know you. Now, we know from Joe, his name was Luke. We also know from Joe, there was a photo of Luke with Ellie and with Rendell Locke. They're all connected somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So, Zach realizes Duncan recognizes him. He catches on to that. Now, Duncan doesn't know how he recognizes him, but he knows. He knows how, Deacon. But he doesn't know how. He's like, I know you from somewhere, but I don't know how. So anyway, they run into these 2 homophobic bitches, and he gets hit over there with a bottle. And when he wakes up, he's like, holy shit, I need to call my family, they're in danger.
Okay.
Yeah.
So reverse amnesia.
So Brian, his lover, is like, listen, like, you were hit over the head, you're out of it, please sleep. I'm gonna watch over you, like, please. And Brian is super cool. I love Brian. Brian is super cool. And Brian is like, please get some rest. Call your family in the morning. Like, you need to, like, you were hit over the head, you might have a concussion, like, which I know you're not supposed to sleep during a concussion, whatever. It's a comic book. It's a comic book, whatever. He's like, just get some sleep. Like, I'll watch over you. It's fine. So, Zach, realizing he's been recognized, uses the anti-work here to go to Duncan's house. Duncan, who's passed out, he uses the head. Oh, I forgot to mention, Zach has a sleepover with the Locks after what happened. He sleeps over, so he steals the head key. And he uses it to visit Duncan. He's like, hey Duncan, you don't remember me, and you kinda remember me, but I'm gonna make sure you don't. So he opens Duncan's head, takes out the only memories of him in Duncan's head, and then he kinda goes in the kitchen. He has a banana for some reason? I don't know. He's an idiot. Anyway, Brian catches him, but Luke has a fucking gun with him? He has an AK with him!
What? Why?
I don't know, but he points it. I don't know. They never really explain how he has an AK, but he has an AK. So he points it at Brian and is like, hey, Brian, I don't want to kill you, but I will. And Brian's like, shit, son. So he, like, dives out of the house. And those 2 bitches, the homophobic bitches, see him run out and are like, fuck, he's caught on to us, run him over. So they hit Brian with a car. So, flashing back to volume 3, Nina gets a call from Duncan, who's like, oh my god, my boyfriend's been hit by a car, like, please come comfort me. So Nina wakes up Ty in the middle of the night, and was like, Brian's been hit by a car, I'm gonna go comfort Duncan. I may not bring it up later, because it's not important, but Brian lives. He does live from this. He's in a coma for a month. I might not bring it up later, because it's not important. but he lives. So in case I don't, he lives.
Okay.
Anyway, Nina's like, Brian's made by a car. I'm gonna go take care of Duncan for a few days. You kids are gonna be alone for a bit. Like, are you good? Also, I'm sobbing because I'm a drunken mess. Nina suffers from alcoholism.
Yeah. You mentioned that.
I did? I don't remember.
Yes.
It gets worse after Rendell dies. She loses her shit and she's drinking all the time. It's shown throughout the comic. She's drinking constantly. She wakes up Ty at 3 a.m. about this. And Ty is like, it's gonna be fine, Mom. Like, just go visit Duncan. I'll watch the house. It's cool. So, this is the same night Zach is still sleeping over. He just caused the car accident. He also goes downstairs and through the ghost door. Talk to Sam Lesser's ghost. So when he killed Sam Lesser and left him as a ghost on the property, he knew Sam's ghost would be there, so he goes to talk to the ghost. Now this is very important. I'm about to send you a screenshot because we're about to get our first clue on what the fuck is going on. I took a picture of this a million years ago. Here it is. These are the pictures of Luke's ghost.
Alright.
I want you to tell me what's wrong with them. You see it?
I need a better pic. I need to make it bigger. Oh, what? What is that weird thing?
Yeah, what is that weird thing? So, Sam sees that, and he's like, what the fuck? And he's like, no, I'm free, it's fine. And Sam's like, no, you're not. You're not free. There's something there. And it's, I feel bad for you, because you're not even you. So, Zach, aka Luke, aka Weird Well Lady, is trying to keep Sam on their side. Because they need Sam. They are looking for this key called the Omega Key. They need it. They need it. And they're like, Sam, now that you're a ghost, you can look anywhere. I need you to find this key for me. And Sam is like, no, no, no. I've been your lackey this whole time. I got killed for no reason. You killed me. Like, I'm not finding this key for you. We're done. In fact, you walked through the ghost door and you're dead now. What's stopping me from possessing your body? You're a cool kid, and I could be with Kinsey. By the way, Kinsey is starting to, like, flirt with Zach a lot, and they date, and it's awful. She doesn't know. Yeah. Anyway, so they have this whole fight, because both of them fly back to the body to try and possess it. So both of them possess Zach's body at the same time. And Sam, using he has this neck bag around his neck with all the keys in it. So Sam uses that to try and strangle him to death. So they're both fighting in the same body over this body, and they're bumping around and making sounds, and Nina hears this, and she's like, what's all this fucking commotion downstairs? So she comes downstairs, and Zach manages to fling himself back to the ghost door to get Sam out, and then flies back in super quick while he's distracted. And is like, fuck you, it's my body, you fucking suck, Sam, I'm done with you. I was the one who loved you, and you just lost me. So go to hell. So Sam is stuck as a ghost at this point.
Yeah.
And Zach uses the Anywhere key to get the fuck out of Dodge before Nina sees him. So now we know Sam is not working for Zach anymore. That's important later.
Yeah.
It's important way later, actually, a bit. I actually haven't been using my notes as much as I thought. I'm very proud of myself. I had to use it occasionally, be like, wait, where was I? Okay, so, at this point we meet a bunch of other characters that, like, they kind of matter, but at the same time they don't. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they are important, but they're really, like, they're side characters. Like, they're not as important in cast. It's like Jordan.
Weird tertiary characters.
Yeah, there's Jordan, Zach, and Jamal. if you don't remember their names, it's fine. It's more important you remember Nina, Ty, Kinsey, and Bode. And Zach, I guess, secondly. They're really the people But Zach is hard because he has 3 different fucking names. He's Zach, Luke, and Dodge.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, as we meet some of the characters, Ty is trying to impress Jordan. He's like, they're gonna give me a pass because my dad died. So how about you have my ethics paper so you can pass ethics? And this is the girl who, wait, did I skip a part?
No, I think you mentioned if you're talking about if that's the girl that, like, he showed the weird...
I did mention it!
To?
Yes, she freaked out and ran.
Mm-hmm.
So he tries to make it up to her by, like, here's my ethics paper. They're gonna give me a pass because my dad died. So why don't you take my ethics paper? He's also, he shoved the ethics book in his head.
Mm-hmm.
So he could know everything. Because he's a cheater. Anyway, so he makes up with her by doing that. And Kinsey is making friends with these 2 guys, Scott and Jamal. And, Scott is head over heels for Kinsey. He wants to date her. And he's like, you know what? There's this cave by your house. And I saw your dad's name carved down by the water in it. And she's like, I want to see that. So her, Jamal, Scott, and Jackie all go to this cave. Jackie is like that straight A kind of student who really shouldn't be involved in this, but here she is. Scott is this British tattooed kid who's the weirdo. Jamal is a black kid, which I hate that that's important. It's important that he's black. I'll explain why. This comic, when did this comic come out? Hold on. This is volume 3 we're up to. I need to see when this came out because this comic weirdly relates so much to, like, the Black Lives Matter movement. What year is this fucking comic? It's sad this comic is still fucking relevant. Oh no, where's the year on this?
I thought you mentioned something like 2015.
Well, 2015 is when I read it. I don't know if that's when it was finished, when it started. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's because, Leia's coworker had gotten the book. If you have to cut this out, it's fine. I'm trying to find a label date.
You're good.
2016 is what Volume 3 is marked as. So, holy shit. I must have read this in 2017 then. I thought it was 2015. It must have been 2017. Let me actually see. Does Volume 6 say 2017? Because I read it right before we started our business.
Yeah.
So... Nope, 2016 is when... Well, actually, you know what? This is the collector's edition, so maybe they rebranded the dates. So I guess 2016 is when it wrapped up. Anyway, where was I? Oh, right. So Kinsey goes down to the caves with these kids. Now, this cave... Does the cave come up now? Hold on. Yes! So this cave was a naval outpost. That's not that important, but I forgot to mention it. There's a plaque they pass down, and they're like, oh cool, there's this plaque, and it's like, naval outpost, blah blah blah. It's literally on the water. So it actually floods with the tides. So, they go into this cave, and Scott is trying to impress Kinsey, and he's like, here, down here. They go down the scaffolding, and the cave flooded with the tide. And he's like, shit, it's like right below the water. So Kinsey, having no fear and no sadness, is like, okay, and takes off her shoes and her socks and dives into the water, the freezing ass fucking water, to go look at these names down below. Okay. And Scott trying to impress her is like, cool, I'll go with you. So they both dive down below, and they see carved in the rock, keepers of the keys, Endo Locke, Aaron Voss, and before she can read more, they have these glow sticks. Before she can read more, there's a commotion up above. They swim back up above, and Jamal, a rat jumped on him. He got scared and moved, and brings the whole scaffolding down with him.
Oh my god.
So now they're all stuck in the freezing water. And they're like, oh shit, we're gonna die. So there's a piece of scaffolding above them, and, Scott and Jackie. Jackie, who didn't want to be there in the first place. She's the straight A student who was like, hey, this is dangerous, we shouldn't go. So they're able to lift them up on top of the underbars, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those pictures that you take, but there's these like underbars underneath it, and they're up there, and they're like, what do we do now? Kinsey and Jamal are stuck in the freezing water. And Jamal's like, you know, all my brothers have girlfriends, like Kinsey. You think we could, like, have a kiss so I know what it's like to have a girlfriend before I die? Because they think they're gonna drown. They really do. So, like, she kisses him, and they later date. It's, like, really sweet. I don't want to get into that too much, but Kinsey, in her lack of fear and sadness, realizes, you know what? The pieces of scaffolding you two are holding on to, if we bring those down, we'll make a ladder for ourselves. So she jumps up on them, brings them down, they make a ladder for themselves and get up top. And Jackie, who's freaked out, is like, never talk to me again. This was dangerous. I told you in the first place, this is awful. We're not friends anymore. But anyway, so they all live. And at the end of the comic, or at the end of the scene, they drop the glow stick in the water through all this, and the glow stick drops down. And underneath Rendell, Locke, and Aaron Voss, we see Kim, Mark, I forget the last names, I think it's Mark Cho, I don't remember Kim, Mark, and Luke, aka Dodge. It says that. It says Luke, aka Dodge Caravaggio. And it says Keeper of the Keys. Rendell, Aaron, Kim, Mark, Luke. And that's gonna be important later.
Okay.
So they escape the caves. They don't talk for a while because they almost all died. They almost all drowned! What the fuck else happens is important in this book. That's like the most important scene next to... Oh, right! Plot device detective, in the background's investigating, and he meets up with Nina, and he's like, you know, I can't get over Sam Lesser's death because his death was weird. His neck snapped. And Nina's like, yeah, because he fell down the stairs. And plot device detective is like, but did he, though? So they're kind of starting to get close. And at the end of it, the book is called Crown of Shadows, because it ends with this crown that when you put a key in it, unlocks the Crown of Shadows. So,
Okay.
Luke, aka Dodge, aka Zach, knows what this crown is. Using the Anywhere key, he gets it, and he creates this shadow battle. It's one of the biggest battles in the books. So while Nina is away, helping Duncan and Brian, because she said she was going away, she attacks with her shadow minions. The Crown of Shadows is the most powerful key in Key House, because you can use it to turn any shadow into your minion. So she can make infinite minions.
Okay.
So she attacks with the Crown of Shadows, being like, hey, give me the Well House key and the Omega key. I need these, and I'll let you live. This is where Ty and his brilliance really comes out. Because Ty is like, why do you need the Well House key? Bodhi told us you escaped the Well House. And he thinks, and he's like, if we're to put you back in there, would you die? Like, is the Well House the key to how we defeat you? So they had this whole epic battle. Ty had actually, is this it? Yeah. Yes, okay, it's perfect. Okay, I wrote it. Kaiju battle! So there's a giant fucking key in Key House in the floorboards. And there's a window in the shape of a keyhole. So Ty found this earlier, and he takes this giant fucking key, sticks it in the window of Key House, and he becomes a giant fucking kaiju beast! Giant, like the size of a lighthouse! And he fights all the shadows, and they find out the shadows are weak to light! And it's this big-ass fucking battle, it's beautiful! Kaiju Ty versus Shadow Bullshit Luke, aka Dodge, aka Zach, because he has a million fucking names. They have this whole fucking battle. They win. I'm trying to remember how. How do they... Yeah, this is where we really start to see how smart Tai is. Because he questions the well key. Because she's like, I need the well key and the omega key. Now, we don't know what the fuck the omega key is. We know what the well house key is. The well house key is how, like, Bodhi found the echo in the first place. There's this key to well house, and it creates echoes.
Okay.
And they're like, why do you need this key if you escape the well house? What are you telling us? It's because Luke is an echo. Luke, aka Zack, aka Dodge, is an echo. They're not real.
Okay.
They are an echo of their former self. And this is also brought up going back to when Ellie saw, you know when she dropped the glow stick in the water?
Yeah.
The glow stick falls past the names, falls down to the bottom of the caves. At the very bottom of the caves, Deacon, do you know what they find? The reader finds.
Is it a body?
It is a skeletal body of Dodge, dead at the bottom of the caves.
I was going to ask you previously.
Ask away. I've been talking a lot. Ask me.
I was going to ask you previously if, say, if you were to fall through like the ghost store and your body was just laying there, if it would decay, like normally.
You are a dead body if no one possesses it.
Okay.
And that's the thing too. The echo key only works if you are dead. It cannot bring back live people. It can only bring back dead people.
Okay.
So we know Dodge died at one point. And they're an echo. And if they're ever brought back through the door of Will House, they will die. Their echo will be released, and they will be no more. And this is the first clue we're given about this.
Okay.
So while this whole shadow battle is happening, plot device detective decides, or is called by Nina. She's away right now helping Duncan. She's like, hey, you check on the house. I'm just worried about my kids. So he drives up, and the shadows see him. And Dodge still has the head key. She stole it at one point. They never notice because they're dumb. But they unlock his head. He drives up and he's like, what the fuck is happening? So they unlock his head, take out all the memories of him seeing this happen and the memories of him being told to come up here. And they just send him off. And he's like, I came up here and I don't remember why. And he just keeps driving off. He's like the worst. Like, I love all the characters, but he's the worst character and he kills me because he's just a plot device. He is brought up when he is needed and that's it. So he leaves. That's it. I only bring him up because he's important later, and you need to realize how much of a plot device he is. Let's see. What else is important about this book? Oh no! Oh, I'm about to cry, Deacon.
Oh god, okay.
I was just rereading my notes. Here's where I cry. So they win the Battle of Shadows, and Nina comes back the next day. Oh god, how do I not cry during this? This is the most important scene in this whole book. And they did it in the show. That's how important it is. Oh no.
I believe in you.
Okay. So Nina, again, she's getting drunk a lot. She's an alcoholic. And she's home. She's alone during the day and she's drinking. She finds this cabinet. And she finds it because Bodhi falls off. He's on a stool and he's trying to get a key above the cabinet in the bathroom and he falls and he injures himself. So Nina gives him a band-aid. And he was using this broken cane to get a key off the shelf. So she grabs the key. He's fucking 9. She grabs the key. And she's like, okay, Bodhi, here's a band-aid. It's fine. I'm gonna put this cane in this cabinet, because you can't be trusted, that this key apparently goes to. I'll lock the cabinet, you go away. The lady, she comes back to grab the cane. She needs it. I forgot, she's crippled from the assault. She got crippled, actually. She's been using a walker this whole time. She opens the cabinet, and that broken cane, it's fixed. She's like, that's weird. So later for breakfast, she had been watching this old video of her husband. Oh my god. She's been watching old videos of her husband because she misses him. In the old videos, he's juggling plates. And Bodhi is like, oh man, like, I want to juggle. And Nina's like, well, I can juggle. And she's trying to juggle plates, and she keeps dropping them. And Kinsey, who has no fear and sadness, is a total bitch to her. And is like, if you'd stop being a fucking drunk, like, maybe you could take care of your kids. But I guess I will. It's bad, Daekon. So, in her drunken state, she finds the cabinet fixer cane, and she's like, am I that drunk? I thought this was broken. So she starts putting broken things in this cabinet and locking it with the key she found. And they're fixing themselves. Now, we learned earlier when she saw Bodhi with her head off, she was ignoring it. It's because adults can't see the magic of Key House. We don't know why yet. But because Nina is drunk, she's actually able to understand magic is happening, because she's drunk.
Yeah.
So, she's putting a bunch of shit in the cabinet, fixing it. And then... deep breaths, Jen. She sees her husband's ashes.
Oh my god.
And she's like, I can fix him. And she puts his ashes in the cabinet. And she's like, he's gonna come back, and I should clean up. And she puts on this beautiful lingerie, and she, like, pretties herself up, and she's like, I can't wait to see my husband again. And she opens the cabinet, just a jar of ashes. Because it can't fix dead people.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud of myself for not crying right now, because I cried earlier over this scene. Oh, deep breaths, Jen! Get through this! So, she's like, maybe he just needs longer to be fixed, and she locks him in again. And she goes off, and she powders her nose, and she comes out, and she hears her son Ty in the kitchen, but she thinks it's her husband. And she's like, I knew you would come back! I knew it! Like, yay, it worked! And she goes over and she hugs him, and she's like, I missed you. And he's like, what the fuck? And they have this whole fight as Kinsey comes in like the bitch she is, because she has no fear or sadness. And they have this whole fight over it and drama. Cause she's like, you're not even a fit mother anymore, you just keep drinking. Like, it's this whole fucking thing. And this is where I get mad about, like, Stephen King's influence, because I'm gonna talk a little about the show versus the comic. So in the show, the event that killed Rendell was very quick and accidental, and it was just Sam. In the comic, it was Sam and this other dipshit. And the other dipshit, trigger warning, he raped Nina.
Mm-hmm.
And Kinsey brings it up. She's like, Mom, I know you were raped, but, like, get your shit together. Right. It gets, like, fucking real. And I love that in the show, Sam Lesser is portrayed so much better, because in the show, he's this tortured kid, whereas in the comic, he's this hillbilly asshole with his friend. So it's one of the few instances where the show does it, like, so much better. So they fight, and Nina is fighting over the ashes with Ty, who's like, I'm gonna put this back in the mantle, and she's like, no, I need to fix him, and they drop the ashes, and Ty is like, Mom, like, go to bed, you're fucking drunk. She goes to bed drunk. And this is the important bit. In the ashes, they find the Omega Key.
Okay.
The key that Dodge has been looking for this whole time. It has an Omega symbol in the key handle. So it was in Rendell's ashes.
But how?
You're gonna find out. So book 4 is literally about the past.
Okay.
They find a key that lets them see into the past. And that's explained in the middle of the book, but I'm just going to explain it now. They find a key that lets them see into the past. So, I'm just going to say it now, but Rendell hid the Omega Key in his head with the head key. So when he died, it manifested itself into his ashes, and that's why it was there.
Okay, that makes sense then.
I'm just explaining it now. So book 4 is all about the past of Key House and what happened to Luke and why his friends murdered him, which is brought up back in volume 2. Are you ready? We're about to explain what the fuck is going on. Are you ready,
Ready
Deacon?
as I'll ever be.
Are you ready? This
You
is where the
mentioned that
Eldritch
This book is a thick boy.
horror
So.
shit. Volume 4 is the thickest. It is the thickest of them all. So,
It's
we're
the white
going-
one.
we are going back to 1775.
Wait. Is that why it's white?
Is why what white?
Is that why the book 4 is white? Because it's not about the present, it's about the past.
Yes. That is exactly why.
Okay.
Wait, no, I lied. Oh shit, I skipped a volume. Volume 5 is the past. We're not there yet.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's how drunk I am. Volume 5 is the past. We are not there yet. I'm so sorry, I skipped a whole volume. Because volume
You're
4...
fine.
You know what it is? Volume 4 is a lot of context clues that don't get explained to volume 5. So it gets hard to deal with. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Volume 4 is where shit hits the fan! So, Volume 4 is amazing. It is, well, actually it starts out amazing, but it ends as the most frustrating book in the whole book. I'm sorry I made you believe it was the past. That's
It's
drunk
fine.
me.
It's
Volume 5. I had to
I'm
think
just
about
still
that.
trying to figure
No.
out why this is white and not black.
Volume 4 is white because it is the big reveal. Volume 4 is white because we are finally led to believe we were given the light on what's going on. Even before Volume 5 is the past, where we learn about we learn about the backstory, but Volume 4, we learn everything about Luke.
Okay.
It is the big reveal. Volume 5 is like half a reveal. Anyway, so Volume 4 is amazing because the first issue, you know how a graphic novel is made of issues?
Yes.
The first issue is from Bodhi's perspective, done in the style of a Calvin and Hobbes comic.
Oh my god, I love it.
It's amazing! I'm gonna show you a screenshot. I know podcast people can't see this.
Yes.
This is, like, you need to pick up this
Audio
comic.
poison.
You need to pick up this comic because it's so good. Hold on. Gonna show you this shit. I'm gonna show you 2 pictures. And one of the pictures, you're gonna see random shit, and that's fine. So this is the style of the normal comic book. The normal style of the book is the artist is beautiful, and I love it so much. So, Volume 4, a lot of it is random fights between the kids and Dodge. Nina, every weekend, kind of like visits Duncan, and then the well lady attacks them. So a lot of every like couple of chapters, you're seeing these fights. But the Bodhi parts in the beginning look like this, and it's beautiful. So, Volume 4 is Bodhi's perspective. He finds the animal key. The animal key has a special door. It's a doggy door. And if you go through it, you turn into an animal that represents you. So, at this point, be prepared to vomit. Zach, aka Luke, aka Dodge, the bad guy, dates Kinsey.
Ew.
Yes, ew. Ew is exactly right. when Kinsey loses all fear and sadness, she asks Zach out. So they date. So, Kinsey, losing all fear and sadness, tells Ty this. Now, Ty and Zach are like besties at this point. So guess who's upset? Ty.
Yeah.
So it's winter at this point. Bodhi is like really lonely by now. It's been several months they've been at Key House. He's made no friends. He's sad. He finds this animal key. And he goes to the animal door and he becomes a little birdie. He's flying around as a bird. Zach follows him. He becomes a wolf. This is incredibly important for later. Again.
Okay.
It's not gonna matter in the moment. But the wolf attacks Kinsey and Ty. He lifts his leg and he pees. This is incredibly important, Deacon.
Okay.
He lifts his leg and he pees the Omega symbol. That's how Ty knows it's the evil well lady. He pees the Omega symbol to tell Ty, I'm about to fucking kill you if you don't give me this key. So
Okay.
Ty and Kinsey fight off the wolves. Bodhi, who's a bird, makes friends with the pack of birds, and the birds all suicide bomb into the wolves to stop them from killing them. So all the birds die. Bodhi gets really sad. But, he also learns how important friendship is, and he makes a friend with this kid named Jason. Jason is really not important, but he comes up later and it's super sad. Anyway!
Oh god.
You've had, like, no questions until now. Do you have any questions? I'm
I mean,
waiting eagerly for your questions!
I mean, I've had a few, but
Tell me! Tell me! Tell me!
I've had a few that I've asked throughout the course of this, but most of it, I'm just kind of making my own assumptions and then having
I want to hear
challenged.
them! Tell me! Tell me! I've been talking a lot! My drunk ass wants to hear you!
Well, you're talking about the Jason kid that he made friends with, which definitely means that kid is going to die.
You don't know that.
Except
you're right, but you don't know that. I mean, you're 100% right, but you don't know that.
I mean, just context clues. Okay. Trying to...
That's okay. Listen, I don't want to pressure you, but I feel like I've been talking a lot, so I'm like, do you have questions? I want to hear them.
No, you're fine. I'm trying to think of how to word.
Yeah, take your time. You can future Deacon can edit this. He knows that. We're almost there, honestly. Like, book 4 is a thick boy. Book 5 is half that thickness, and then book 6 is about the same. So we're really getting there, I feel like. And a lot of this I'm condensing, honestly.
Okay, so I have a
Yes.
couple of questions.
I'm ready.
One, doesn't like Kinsey at this point know that, like, because you said that like well lady, air quotes, or Luke or Zach or whatever has been like attacking them every weekend. So doesn't she know?
No. She thinks he's a regular high school student because that's how he's presenting himself. But let me tell you, Ty is starting to notice because every weekend well lady attacks, Zach is quote-unquote away researching a paper for his college thesis. So Ty is starting to catch on. Kinsey doesn't. Kinsey is not the worst character in the world, but she's kind of a dumb bitch because she ditches her sadness and her fear. And she makes a lot of mistakes because of it. So she doesn't.
Okay.
No idea.
I mean, I was just thinking about that because you mentioned, like, you were saying that, Bodhi knew that, the well lady thing, if they get put back in the well house. So
Bodhi also does not catch on that Zach is the well lady.
Okay.
Because he's 9.
I mean, I guess. I was just curious because
I know. No, trust me. Ty is the first. Ty is the first person to catch on. And it's amazing because Ty is a jock. And what I love about this book is they take this jock and they actually make him, like, really smart. It's brilliant. And it has to do with that wolf fucking peeing.
Okay. I will let you get back to it then.
No more questions? I love answering questions.
Just as an aside, if you sent me pictures, they never came through.
Huh? I sent you... Oh, no. Excuse me, pictures. Let me turn on my mobile data. See if that happens. I see they didn't come through. Bitches, where are these pictures? I will wait for this, because they're beautiful and they're important. Oh my god, I sent them in Call of the Void. Hold on. Oh, I'm gonna delete these. Oh no. I was in Call of the Void because I typed about Jack having to reply to that guy. Because I deleted them. Oh shit. Hold on, we're gonna send this again. That's my fault. Sounds like I knew I sent them. Alright, here's the art style.
Okay.
And here's Bodhi's comic of it, which is just, it's adorable. Because again, it's Nina basically having to explain to these teachers, no, he's fine. The teachers are like, he's got problems, Mom.
Okay, I see what you mean by the Calvin and Hobbes style now.
Yeah, and especially Zach, too. Zach has this whole vivid thing where he murders all of them. Like, he is very psychotic. He has this whole vivid thing where he just murders the shit out of them. And he's very mad. He can't just... Where is it? I need to show you. Like, this comic is so good, Deacon. Bodhi throws a snowball at him, and he's like, I could just murder you all in an instant. I could just murder you all in a fucking instant. He wants the Omega Key. He's like, give me the fucking Omega Key before I murder you all in an instant. In his head, of course. He's trying to, like, play nice and be like, no, it's cool, we're friends. Yeah. Give me the key to the black door, or the whore dies like your little fuck brother. Like, it's just, it's intense when you see what the well lady / Luke / Zach thinks.
Yeah.
Like, and I haven't talked much about it, but this whole time, so he's staying with Ellie, like I mentioned. Ellie has a mentally handicapped son named Rufus.
Mm-hmm.
Rufus is more aware than Zach thinks. He is catching on to how evil Zach is. Zach, in the meantime, he's abusing Ellie. You're catching on... I can't believe I didn't write to my notes, but you're catching on to this whole relationship him and Ellie had. Ellie and him clearly had some kind of a relationship back in the day. And he's kind of like, you owe me. You betrayed me. And she's just powerless to him.
Yeah.
And it's this whole thing. Which,
I mean,
it gets...
the assumption that they were together at some point.
And it's gonna make me cry later. I'm sorry, future Deacon. I didn't cry at the urn thing, which I would have totally. We're gonna see how well I handle the ending. Where the fuck were we? We're in book 4.
The wolf peeing.
The wolf peeing.
And
so, thanks to the birds suicide and stop the wolves. But Ty notices that wolf pee. He notices that wolf pee. We're gonna get back to that. Most of the book is a lot of random fights they have with this well lady. And they call her the well lady, because all they know is what Bodhi told them. So they don't know who the fuck it is. They're like, this is well lady. Wants the Omega Key and the well key. We don't know why. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Oh, that's right! The encounter with Sam Lesser, she dropped the well key. That's why she doesn't have it anymore. I forgot about that part.
Okay.
Sam and her both possess the same body, and Sam tried to murder it. I don't know if I went into that. I'm really drunk.
You
Sam,
did.
using the necklace, actually tried to strangle the body, stop him, or her, the well person. It didn't work. But while trying to escape quickly before Nina found him, they actually lost the well key. And they told plot device detective about it. That's gonna come back later. Where the fuck am I? Yes.
I was also going to ask, so you said that they're not, that they don't know. So does that mean that every weekend, whenever, well person, Zach, Luke, whatever, is attacking, he's presenting himself as something different than he is every time?
When he attacks them, he presents himself as the well lady.
Okay.
The well lady.
Because, I feel like at this point they would have definitely seen, like, this person that they would very much recognize and put two and two together.
Well, a woman and a man can look very different. Kinsey is fooled, but Ty is kept. You're seeing how brilliant Ty is. He actually is starting to make a calendar and noticing, that's weird. On my calendar, the weekends this well lady's attacking, you're away on this research paper. How very peculiar. Ty is putting some pieces together. So, we come to Rufus and Bodhi finally meeting. So, Ellie was a childhood friend of Rendell. And they were actually given the job of looking after Key House all these years.
Mm-hmm.
So, when, the Locks got the house back, they didn't really do that, but after all this time, and everything with Zach, oh shit, I have to cover Aaron. I'm gonna get there. But Rufus basically finally meets Bodhi. And when they meet, Rufus is mentally ill.
Mm-hmm.
Rufus is one of the greatest mentally ill characters I've ever seen represented in any story, ever. So Rufus's dad left them after he found out Rufus was mentally ill. Rufus has some kind of Asperger. His dad was in the army, so because of that, Rufus sees the world from a member of the army's perspective. But he sees himself as like, I'm Private Rufus, and my action figures are other privates in the army, and we're all part of a squad. It's so fucking cute. So, Rufus has a lot of advantages from being mentally ill. The head key doesn't work on him, which is going to be important later. And also, he can actually see Sam Lesser's ghost. So, when he goes to visit and meet Bodhi for the first time, they're playing, he sees Sam Lesser's ghost. And Sam pretends to be a private in an army and talks to him like a soldier because he's getting the idea about, because he's like, I'm Private Rufus reporting for duty, and no man, he talks like a soldier. It's like really, it's an amazing representation of like mental illness. Like, despite the fact this is like, Stephen King's son, like, it's amazing how much stuff he does really well, and this is one of those. So, Sam Lesser actually explains to him how, like, listen, you've probably noticed how, like, Zach is the enemy. You're behind enemy lines, and I'm gonna help you through this. And it's this whole thing. You see, what did I write? I wrote a whole thing to help myself through this because it's a lot. He becomes a soldier ghost, and it's like a really cool scene, like I mentioned. I should picture, actually. It's like, the ghosts in this book are so much better than the show represented, and I let it go because I recognize it's like a budgetary thing. I'm gonna take a picture of this because it's so cool. Oh no, stop zooming in. Oh no, it's too zoomed out! You'll see, like, Rufus talking to Sam, and, it's sad because, Sam is obviously this giant asshole who killed Ty's dad, but you really kind of learn he was just a high school kid who was, like, kind of caught up in this web he didn't understand, and the show actually represents it much better than the comic. And Sam really tries to do right by the end. He, like, really does. And, I don't know, I hope he goes to heaven, if heaven exists. That sounds weird. But anyway, so, Ghost Sam explains to Rufus that if they can push Zack, who is the enemy, back into Wellhouse, he will die. Because he's not real, he's an echo. He's not a real person. He is an echo of his former self. And because he escaped through a door that was not the front door to Wellhouse, if he is pushed through the door to Wellhouse, he will disappear because the echo's magic is not supposed to escape Wellhouse. But because of the way it was made, it's gotta be through the door to Wellhouse.
Yeah.
During all of this, we find out that Zack has some kind of key that lets him see all of Wellhouse. Keyword see. So Sam explains to Rufus, listen, he can see you, he can't see me, and he can't hear us. And Rufus can see Zack's weird fucking eyeball staring at him. But he's like, just pretend nothing's going on. Fine. He can't hear us. He thinks you're talking to yourself because, you know, your trigger warning, the R word is dropped a lot.
Aww.
If you want to edit this out, like, I don't even want to say it, so I expect this to be edited out, but he's like, listen, you're a retard, and he's not gonna take you seriously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can cut that out, I get that. Like, I hate even saying it, but that's just the truth of it. And again, this is Stephen King's writing coming through.
Yeah.
The R word is dropped a lot in this book, more than any other slur. The F word is also dropped earlier with the homophobic scene. Despite all of that, I really think it is a good book. I hate saying that as, like, you know, a white woman. Like, I don't know, I'm kind of a lesbian at this point, but still, I feel like maybe I'm the worst person to say that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The R word is probably dropped the most apart from any other slur. Because even Ty at one point calls himself that because he fails a paper at one point. I don't know, it's whatever. They fixed that in the show, which I think was really cool. Anyway, so Rufus is kind of given an idea what's going on. Especially you see it. Ellie is being tortured by Zack. He sleeps with her like several times. He's like, no, it's fine. I'm Luke. I'm your high school sweetheart.
That's gross.
Which is a key. Yeah, she is like this poor tortured. I feel so bad for Ellie throughout this entire book. So anyway, the big important bit of this book is while they're walking along, they pass by this woman in a wheelchair. Black woman. I hate to bring up her race, but it unfortunately is important. Now, just a warning, a lot of this is could be related to Black Lives Matter, really. This is back in 2016. It's amazing. It tells you how much this, like, translates to now. So anyway, they pass by this woman, and she looks at them, and she's screaming, white, 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 dodge, dodge, watch out for dodge, white. Zack understands what this means. The rest of them are like, that's weird. So Zack is like, fuck, I have to kill this woman now. The rest of them, they find out this woman's name is Erin Voss. Kinsey. Yes, Kinsey, who saw the wall of the Keepers of the Keys, is like, holy shit, her name was below Dad's name. She was Dad's friend. So, plot device, they find this mirror called the skin change key. It changes her skin. Because when Erin is like, white, 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 they're like, oh no, she's racist against white people. So they use the skin key to change to black people. They go visit her at the mental institution. Fortunately, Zack also figures out she's at the mental institution. He tries to kill her. He fails, because Kinsey gets there first. Actually, it's not true. Zack gets there first, but he only kills, like, one of the aides before he can kill her, and then Kinsey gets there. Anyway, so Kinsey's this little black girl is like, Erin, like, you know my dad, can you tell me what's going on? And Erin is just like, white, white, dodge, stop, dodge. So Erin looks in her head. All she sees, I'm gonna send you a picture. All she sees is this white wall, and she uses the head key on her, by the way, in case you're wondering how she uses the head key on her. And all she sees... What the fuck is that? She sees this white wall, and all it says is... Here it is. It says Dodge on one wall, and Rendell with a heart on the other. Ready? Ready for this sad shit? She finds out that basically Aaron was in love with her dad. Like, in love. They almost got together. I'll bring up later. But there was a man named Dodge, and they're like, who the fuck is Dodge? They're like, who is that? But there's someone named Dodge who is involved in all this thing. Anyway, so while Kinsey's doing this, she doesn't realize that Dodge / Zach / Luke, he has a million fucking names, as I mentioned. He killed an aide. So Kinsey, now being aware of her scenario, is like, oh my god, there's a dead fucking body in here. Another aide comes in, sees there's a dead body and a little black girl. So she runs, she becomes white again, but this whole, like, political thing where she's like, black kids always getting blamed for this shit because they're black. And it's true, don't get me wrong, it's true. But it's a very, like, political topic that they talk about. And that's kind of the whole point of this scene, is it gets very political where they're like, black kids always getting blamed for this, which is true. I'm not pretending it's true, but it does derail from the story, so I'm gonna move on. Yeah. Anyway, so they find out Erin Voss exists. She's in a mental institution, and all her memories are gone. There's this guy named Dodge in her head, and Rendell, and it's sad. So, now we reach the end of the book. Are you ready? Do you have any questions? It's about to get brutal.
No, I'm good.
It's about to get brutal, Deacon! Deacon! It's about to get brutal! So, Ty has been catching on to Zach. And Zach has been bringing up the Omega Key because Ty and Kinsey have mentioned the well ladies looking for the Omega Key. Zach keeps bringing it up. Like, oh, do you need help protecting this Omega Key? Kinsey, like an idiot. Like, oh, Zach just cares. And Ty is like, that's weird. So, we reach the fencing tourney. And this is the point where Ty has been keeping calendar, and he's like, that's weird that you're never around when the Wellity attacks. You're out doing your paper in Boston, or whatever the fuck. Whatever. So Kinsey and Zach are dating at this point, as I mentioned. It's during his tournament. Now, during the tournament, something interesting happens. Zach is competing. Zach, instead of parrying, or whatever the fuck fencing terms, he keeps dodging. Yes. So his teammates are like, dodge, 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 that's all he does. And Ty is like, dodging is all he does, isn't it? So Ty has this grand suspicion. He leaves in the middle of the tournament. He's like, you know what, Kinsey, I'm gonna take Bodhi home. It's getting late. And Kinsey's like, but he's got 2 matches left. And Ty's like, it's fine. I'm gonna take Bodhi home. So instead, he drops by Zach's house. With Aaron. Mm-hmm. Not Aaron, I'm sorry. Ellie. Maybe I'll say Ellie. Now, Ellie at this point, Dodge has actually erased her memory. I forgot to bring this up in my drunkenness, but in the last book, we find out that Dodge killed Ellie's mother. Ellie's mother, ready for the language, was a cunt. Ellie's mother would burn cigarettes on her quote-unquote R-word son, R-word grandkid, was a huge bitch, was like, oh, that Luke kid left you? What a fucking shock, because you're a loser. So she was an abusive parent.
Yeah.
So Ellie secretly kind of wanted her mom to die this whole time. So one day, Ellie is reaching behind her bathroom mirror. She's got a hole in the wall. She puts Rufus to bed. Behind her bathroom mirror, NSFW there's a dildo back there. And she makes a joke, and she's like, man, all you want is sex from me lately. It's like we never talk. Ha ha ha, I'm making a joke to myself because I'm lonely. She gets startled by her son and drops the dildo. Her son peed himself. She cleans it up. She goes back, tries to look for her dildo on the wall, and instead finds a jar. Now, this is a flashback to before everything started.
Mm-hmm.
In the jar is a tiny little well lady holding a key, and it says, in case of emergency, break glass, and she's waving. Ellie freaks out, drops the jar, passes out from like, why is a little person in a jar waving at me? So, tiny well lady, who you find out is a memory, climbs into Ellie's head, and that's how it all started. This is how it all started. Ellie, with the memory of the well lady, aka Zach, aka Dodge, aka Luke, is convinced she has to kill her mother and go to the well house. So, she's like, she leaves Rufus with a babysitter and tries to go to this cave down by the shore that everyone knows about. This is Ocean Cave. I think I brought it up. I should have brought it up, yes. And Ellie's mom catches on. She's like, if you're gonna kill me, just, like, push me now. Ellie doesn't have the guts, so she doesn't do it. But they go to Well House to clean it up, because Ellie was actually left in charge of cleaning Key House all these years.
Yeah.
So she's cleaning the Well House, and her mom is like, you're useless. You're terrible. I don't know why you didn't just kill me. It's because you have no spine. You're a piece of shit. She's an abusive mother. So Ellie opens Key House to clean it. She's like, God, I wish I killed you. And it turns out inside Well House is already Dodge's Echo, who kills her mother. He kills her mother for him. For her, rather. And that's basically how it all starts. Is she reawakes the Echo for Dodge.
Okay.
So we learned that in the last book. I forgot to. Anyway, flashback to now. Ty, in the middle of the fencing tournament, decides, you know what? I'm gonna take Bodhi home. It's fine. It's getting late. Bodhi should get some rest. He leaves with Bodhi. But instead of going home, he goes to Ellie's house. Now at this time, Luke has actually removed all of Ellie's memories. The night... I don't think I brought this up. Duncan actually recognized him. So he actually goes to Duncan's house to remove all of his memories, because he's like, I can't be recognized by Duncan. So he also, in the same night, removes all Ella's memories with like, you know what? I left this piece of me inside of you, so you wouldn't just kill me. So every time you've tried to stab me or kill me, you haven't, because I left this piece of me inside of your brain. So, when Ty goes back, Zach is like, remove all our memories, so he's like, now you'll just remember me as that cousin you're letting stay with you. So when Ty talks to Ellie, and he's like, oh yeah, what was Zach like when he was a kid? Ellie has no answer. Ellie acts just like his mom did when presented with the magic of Key House, where she forgets what the conversation was even about.
Yeah.
So, Ty goes upstairs. Rufus is there. And he's like, you need to watch out. You're behind enemy lines. So now Ty is really catching on at this point. He's like, holy shit. Zach is the well lady. So, flashback to the tournament. Zach is between matches. And Ellie is talking to him. And he's like, oh, where's your brother? And Kinsey, like a fucking idiot she is like, oh, he took Bodhi home early. You know he doesn't trust us at all? She says that! She's like, you know, he doesn't trust us. Like, isn't that weird? And he's like, hold on one sec. But he uses the anywhere key to leave in the middle of this fucking tournament. He appears back at his own house, where Ty is investigating his room. So, you know how I mentioned volume 3 or 4 has a lot of, like, random-ass battles?
Yeah.
One of those battles involves a music box. That music box is a big, like, thing in the TV show, which is annoying. In the comic, it's very minor. The music box key, if you are hearing the music of the music box key, you have to do what it tells you. It's a mind control music box. It's really cool. So he uses that on Ty. And even Ty comments like, I was wondering where the music box went. He uses it on Ty to freeze him in place. So they confront each other in their room. And Zack looks at him and goes like, you know what? I mistook you for a dumb jock. How did you even realize it was me? You remember the dog peeing? You remember? It's about to catch up. Are you ready?
Sure.
Are you ready? Deacon, I need you to be ready.
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Ty looks at him and goes, you know how I caught on? Balls! Balls, Deacon!
Okay.
He's like, when we fought the wolf in the woods, and you peed in the snow, do you know what I noticed? The balls. And I thought, that's weird. I thought it was a well lady. What if it's actually a well dude? With all the keys in Key House, what if there's a key to change your gender? And that's why Ty is fucking smart. I'm gonna segue here really quick. Because, for show fans, I'm gonna talk a little about this very briefly. I don't want to spoil too much about the show. The show is... I can't express how vastly different it is from the comic. I was surprised how different it was. In the show, the gender key does not exist. Instead, the key in the show can change you to look like however you want. This bothers me immensely because the comic has a very specific reason why it's the gender key, which I will get into. There's a very specific reason Luke became a female of himself instead of just whoever the fuck he wanted. And the show ruins that. And I'm angry about it.
Well, I will say, so if you could use the key to, like, change into whatever you want or whatever you want to look like, doesn't that technically render, like, the animal key useless?
Exactly. On top of that, again, there's a reason why he only becomes a female. If you could be anything you want, why would you just be a female version of yourself? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah.
Like, the show just ruins it, and I'm like, what are you fucking doing? And they do it for their own reasons, to make up their own storyline, and it very much upsets me. And let me tell you something, I'm very easygoing. I love seeing different renditions of things, but the change of that key drastically changes the story, and you'll see why. I can't get into it until volume 5, but it really upsets me.
I'm not asking a whole ton of questions because I'm sort of piecing things together in my brain.
Well, that's the funnest part about this, is you can do that, and that's why the show makes me mad, because it's not the same in the show, and I'm like, really ruin this. So, I don't know if this is gonna get cut or not, but to folks who are gonna watch the show and not read the comic, or watch the show before they read the comic, the show is really not terrible. But if you read the comic first, it is. The comic really ruins the show. I think the show on its own is a fine story, but the comic is much better, excluding Sam Lester. He's much better in the show. And small things like the gender key. I hate they changed it to, like, the be anything key, because I'm like... You'll see why I can't explain now, but in volume 5, you see why that's so important. It's the gender key, but whatever. Anyway. Yeah. So I'm up to Ty is in Zach's room, I think, yep. Right? So in Zach's room, Ty finally... I mentioned the balls, that's right!
Yep.
I forgot. So while Ty was in Zach's room, he found a jar of memories. That's how he realized, like, holy shit, this is the well lady. Anyway, so Zach leaves his tourney early with the Anywhere Key, finds him, the whole balls thing happens, and this is why, like, Ty is so smart. And I love that. I love that they took this jock character, and he actually is so observative and so smart. So, Zach has the music box in his room, and he uses it to freeze Ty. So the music box, when you tell it something, it sings it, and when you hear that song, you have to do what it says.
Yeah.
So he sings to it, you stay still, and then he sings to it, tell me where the Omega Key is. But Ty can't. Ty, despite what happened in the last volume, for some reason, doesn't know where the Omega Key is. And this whole time, Kinsey's been asking him, hey, maybe more than one of us should know, and he's like, nope, not safe. So we actually don't know where the Omega Key is. So this pisses Luke / Dodge / Zach off. Wait, did I mention why Luke leaves yet? To chase Ty? I don't know if I skipped over that.
Because Kinsey makes a comment about...
Yes, because Kinsey's a dumb bitch! What were you gonna ask? I'm sorry.
You're fine. So, again, like I said, I've been kind of piecing things together.
As you do.
So, yeah.
It's a good book. It's a good story.
I'm going
Read
to
it.
make the assumption that since Tyler is the only person who knows where the key is, like... I don't know. Never mind. You continue going.
That's fine. This is where all hell breaks loose, Deacon, so you ask your questions now.
No,
now is the time. Do you have any other questions?
I don't. You go
Tell
ahead.
me. I'm just curious. What are your observations right now? I want to hear them. I want to hear them. Tell me.
I was going to say, but it doesn't make sense because the last we discussed, somebody else has the key.
They were in Rendell's ashes. Yep. We had found it. But for some reason, Ty doesn't know where it is. Isn't that interesting?
I was going to say there is a particular key that you could use to get rid of that kind of memory, but the last we knew, Luke had it.
So, during the whole Luke sleepover,
yes.
There is a point, I'm, like, forgetting when, they do have it, like, Tyler and them do have it right now.
So he has the key. So
yes.
he removed the memory from his head.
Maybe that's what he did, I don't know, but they do have it right now. I might have, like, mismentioned when... The head key bounces around so much, it's like, hard to keep track of sober. But, yeah.
That's just my current assumption.
Anyway, so, while Zach is confronting Tyler, guess who shows up? Are you ready?
Is it plot device?
Device detective! I feel so bad because this is like one of the few black characters in the book, and he's a fucking plot device. And I love this series, but I look at this and go like, man, you could have done so much more with this character.
Well, I mean, far, there's three black characters that you've mentioned.
Yes, Aaron Voss,
Jordan, not Jordan.
Plot device and Joe. Joe died.
Joe
was the drama teacher. He was mentioned just in volume 2.
No. One of the kids that was with them when they went to the cave was also.
Oh yeah, Jamal.
Yeah,
Jesus, I forgot about Jamal because he hasn't really become important until the end. Like
so
Jamal, Scott, and Jordan don't really matter until the end of the book. So like I forget about them. Anyway, yeah you're right.
There's 4 black kids.
There's 4 black characters. But yeah, so plot device detective, we get a flashback. He's been obsessed with Sam Lester's death this whole time. Because he's like, Sam Lester had his neck snapped. The coroner corroborates there's no way he fell down a fucking flight of stairs and died. Someone snapped his neck, and I'm not crazy. And he's with the coroner, and he's like, you see what I'm talking about? And the coroner's like, well, that's not Sam Lester, that's, what's her name fucking Voss? It's Aaron's mom. And he's like, excuse me? So he notices Aaron's mom and Sam Lesser both died the same way. You know why? Because fucking Dodge did it! So, Detective Plot Device shows up at this time, because he's like, I have some questions. So Ellie calls Zach down. Now, Ellie, by this point, I don't remember if I went into it. Zach, after using her, or actually removes all of her memories. So at this point, she doesn't, remember a whole lot. She thinks Zach is her cousin. Like, she's just out of it. Ty notices because he's like, oh yeah, what was Zach like when he was a kid? And she's like, you want some cookies? And he's like... So anyway, Plot Device is up, and Zach, who's trying to question Ty, is like, fuck me, I'm being called downstairs by my stupid girlfriend, aunt, cousin, so I'll be right back. And Detective Plot Device is like, hey you, it's funny that you showed up randomly when 2 people died. I have questions. And Zach is like, you know what? I'm over it. And he tries to kill Detective Plot Device. And I'm about to cry. He kills Ellie.
What?
He just stabs the shit out of her. He leans in. And he's like, I wish you knew how good this felt, that I'm finally able to murder the shit out of you. And she looks at him in her dying moments. And her memories come back. And she looks at him. And she just goes, Luke, I'm sorry we couldn't save you from that thing. He looks at her. And Luke comes back for a brief second. He looks at her and goes, Ellie, I'm so sorry. You should have let me die. I'm so hurt I'm doing this to you. And they have this moment and she kisses him. And then evil Wellhouse lady comes back in mid-kiss and bites her lips off. And is basically like, fuck you. So she dies. I know, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart so much.
That sucks.
It sucks so much, dude! So, during this point, guess who comes down the stairs? Remember who's in the house?
Yeah, I know.
Rufus and fucking Bodhi! So, Matuku, Plot Device was trying to be like, freeze, you're under arrest. And he's like, fuck you, dude. I don't even care. And he tries to kill him. He sees Bodhi coming down the stairs. So he captures Bodhi. And he's like, this is my prisoner now. If you come after me, I'm gonna murder all of you. And Plot Device is like, you can't go up the stairs, dude. There's nothing up there. And Wellhouse Lady Zach / Luke / Dodge is like, ha, that's what you think. And he passes by Tyler, who's still frozen by the music box, and is like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And Zach's like, ha, good luck, bye. And he climbs out the window with Bodhi. And he has a key that lets him walk on air. I don't know if they ever tell you the name of this key, but he can walk on air for some reason. Anyway, he uses the Anywhere key and disappears with Bodhi on a car door. And he tells Ty before he leaves, hey, whoever walks through that door, you punch. So the cops come up the stairs and Ty punches them. And it's this whole thing. But then it's not this whole thing. Meanwhile, remember Kinsey at the tournament?
Yeah.
So she's like, where the fuck is everybody? So she tries to call Zach, her fucking boyfriend. Is like, are you kidding me that Ty's been right this whole time that you're weird? Daekon, this is where it's about to suck. Are you ready?
Sure.
It's about to suck so hard, Daekon. Daekon. I feel bad because I'm way going over. I'm trying to speed this up, but
You're fine.
Okay. So Zach takes Bodhi back to Key House. Oh no, I dropped the book. Okay. I'm trying to read. Okay. So, he takes Bodhi's body through the ghost door. Because he has the ghost key. Do you know why?
So that he can possess Bodhi's body.
He takes Bodhi's body. Sam, Lesser's ghost, seeing this, takes Zach's body. So Bodhi's just a fucking ghost in the wind. So Sam Lesser grabs Bodhi Zach and is like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, dude. And he tries to kill him. Kinsey, bitch, shows up finally and is like, fuck you, Zach Dodge, and murders him with a skate! I forgot. By the way, Ty plays hockey, so she finds his skates outside, and she basically murders him with his skates. She, like, beats the shit out of him with these skates. Because she has no fear or sadness. But guess who she actually kills? Sam Lester in Zach's body!
Yep.
So Bodhi with Zach lives! That's the end of book 4.
Great.
Right? It's so tilting! Alright. Book 5 is now the backstory I promised you. I'm gonna speed through this as quick as possible, because we're getting... Honestly, you can TLDR this. I wrote a shit ton of notes, but you can really TLDR this a lot. So I'm gonna do that. Flashback to 1775. During the American Revolution. The original Locke family are hanged for being traitors to the British, for protecting American colonists.
Okay.
Their children are left. They can be considered redeeming to themselves. They don't actually own the house like their uncle in London does. So it's this whole, like, legal matter that the British Army can't do anything about. So we find out the 2 Locke children, Benjamin, and I forget his sister's name because she's not important. Sorry, honey, you're not important. So Benjamin goes down, do you remember the sea caves?
Yes.
They're hiding their whole family and more American soldiers down there.
Okay.
So they know they have 2 weeks till the British show up, and they're down these caves. So they go down there, because their brother's down there, and they're like, okay, my parents are dead, but my older brother will help me. He goes down there to talk to everyone. His older brother's dead. And he's like, what the fuck? And they're like, so we found this door. That's like fucking evil. Remember the door I mentioned in the caves? Did I mention the door in the caves? I don't remember. Okay. So this is before there's a door in front of the door.
What?
I'm gonna send you a picture as to why
what the fuck.
I'm gonna send you a picture of why a door gets put in front of this door. Hold on. Oh no. Book 5, please come out of my box. Oh no. I wish the podcast people could see this, because it's just... It's one of those things that, like, trying to explain is just... It's impossible. Anyway, so they come down, and they're like, yeah, your brother's dead. And he's like, what the fuck? And he's like, so we found this door down here. It's an evil fucking door, and if you look at it, it whispers to you. And if it whispers to you, you come near it. And if you touch it, you become evil. You become evil, Deacon.
Okay.
So basically some guy went and murdered a bunch of them, including his brother. Oh my god, I'm so drunk I can't even, like, open Discord. Hold on. I'm so sorry.
I believe it.
Oh my god, I'm trying so hard. Oh my god, hit the arrow. Look at this fucking door, Deacon. Look at it. It's got 1,000,000 eyeballs on it.
No.
You see that? You see that shit? So earlier in the caves, there's a door in front of this. A wooden door. This is what it looks like behind it. Look at that shit. So we finally learned the secret of the Omega door. It is a world. Oh, I can hear myself.
Yeah, you opened your...
Oh no, I called my phone!
There you go.
I'm sorry! Alright, I'm gonna start over. So we learned the secret to the door. It is a door to an eldritch horror nightmare verse. Back in 1775, they found this out. If you look at that door, they whisper to you. If you touch that door, they possess you.
I was gonna ask, because this looks very similar to something I've seen already.
Really? What?
The thingy thing that's in the Luke well lady ghost.
Yes, the spirit, exactly. You see the same eyeball, yes. So
it's the same little like weird thing.
Exactly. So Benjamin Locke, who's like 16 at the time, tries to keep, like, he kind of catches on quick. He tries to keep away from this door, but he notices when things try to come out of the door, they turn into this heap of metal. So at first he makes it lock. You find out the locks clearly have their name because they were locksmiths. So he makes a lock for the door. It doesn't work. He makes it out of regular ass fucking iron. What a shock, Benjamin! It doesn't work! You know, it doesn't work, and a goat gets possessed and tries to murder you. It's fine. So he's like, what if I use this metal from these things that come out? When these things come out, and they don't possess a person, they become this metal. It's later called the Whispering Iron. He makes a lock out of Whispering Iron, and it keeps the door shut. And we later learn he makes a bunch of keys, and that is what the key house keys are made out of. They're made out of eldritch demons who try to jump through the door and fail and become a bunch of heap of metal goop. And that is the secret to Key House. We learn this because it turns out Kinsey and Ty, we see them as ghosts. They find a key that lets them look into the past. And that's how they see all this happening.
Okay.
So, guess what else they look at? What happened to their dad? So, we look at what happened. Remember when Luke was like, all those kids tried to kill me, and I wouldn't have been like this.
Yeah.
We're about to find out what he's talking about. Are you ready, Deacon?
Yes.
Do you have any questions before I reveal the secrets?
I don't.
You're just enthralled?
Yes.
Good! You should read this. I recommend it. It's so good. Everyone read this book. I'm sorry if you hear me tapping.
You're fine.
Here it is, the secret to what happened all those years ago in 1988. 1988. Rendell Locke and his friends, Aaron Voss, Kim what's-her-name, Mark Cho. Who the fuck else was with them? Oh yeah, and Luke Caravaggio, aka Dodge, aka Zach.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he named himself Zach Wells. What a bitch, am I right?
Oh my god.
Wells? Wells? Exactly. Anyway, so I'm gonna try really hard. So this is where I enter cry territory. So future listeners, if I cry, I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
We find out Luke was an amazing fucking dude. He was a popular kid. He fell in love with Ellie, who was quote-unquote an ugly girl, and he was just a genuine sweetheart. He was Rendell's best friend. So, they put on this giant play. Now back in volume 3 or 4, I forget, you see a bunch of, like, keys shown off. You see them again here because they put on a giant play showing off, like, the Hercules key where you had muscles, the Angel key where you got wings, there's, like, a weather key. They put on this high production play and no one realizes it's a bunch of keys. And they do this because they're told that some, like, movie producer was watching. Turns out he's not. So they think they're gonna get famous and they don't. They get really depressed about it. More specifically, Kim does. She's a bitch. Like she's she's like a racist bitch. Because Mark Cho is Asian, and she makes a ton of racist Asian remarks to him, because it was apparently his relative who was a famous producer who was supposed to be watching. It's this whole thing. Anyway. So Rendell, in his infinite fucking wisdom, is like, you know what? We may not get famous making this play, but when we turn 18, one of my ancestors put magic on the house that when you turn 18 and you walk through the front door of Key House, you no longer remember the magic of Key House. And now you learn why Nina has no idea what the fuck's going on. She's an adult.
Yeah.
So as a safety precaution, one of his ancestors made a key to turn the front door into oh, you're an adult? Fuck you don't remember the magic of Key House. So, he's like, we're about to turn 18, we're about to exit college. We may not get remembered for this play, but what if we made our own key? You putting two and two together? Why this is a bad idea?
Kind of, yeah.
So, Aaron Voss is like, this is a bad idea. Because, of course, she would, she'd be the smart one. And Rendell's like, no, it's fine. All we have to do is not look at the door. I read my ancestors' journal, and they said if you look at the door, you're enthralled by it. So all we have to do is not look at the door. Right? It's easy. We just have to open it, let some metal come through, and close it. Easy peasy. So, they go down to the door in the caves. They open it with the Omega key. And while they're opening it, remember Rendell Locke's little brother Duncan?
Yeah.
He comes a-walking in. And he's like, what a cool door, I'm gonna touch it. He followed them into the caves. And Luke is like, oh shit, little kid, no! And Luke saves Duncan. And in the process, he looks at the door. And he touches the door. So they close the door. And they look at Luke. And they're like, dude, we know you fucking touched the door. And he's like, I'm good. It barely touched me. It was terrifying. But you know what? I'm okay. I'm good. And Rendell's kind of like, suspicious fry look like, are you though? And Ellie, who loves him, is like, you're fine, babe. We'll never let anything happen to you. And he's like, oh, thank God I'm safe. I'm so happy I'm not injured. It felt so ice cold. Now here's the thing. In Benjamin's diary, all the people who came into contact with the door, all the people mentioned how it felt so good. How it felt like everything was released inside of them and they were whole again. But here's Luke being like, it touched me and it was so cold and dark and awful. 'Cause he's fucking lying.
Yeah.
He's lying, chat. He's lying. Anyway, I gotta get through this. It's like... Anyway, so, Luke, now clearly possessed by eldritch horror monsters, tries to murder all of them overnight. And they're like, okay, what if we use the head key and take out all of his memories, and then he forgets he was possessed by the weird door demon? They take out all of his memories. He doesn't forget that he was possessed by the weird door demon, kinda. Because they take out all of his memories, he forgets that he loved Ellie, which breaks her fucking heart. He forgets why they're friends. He's basically this weird stranger to them. But they never take out the memory of Key House because they're fucking idiots. So this whole time, he's like, why do I care about Key House so much? And he goes back. He goes back to the well house where Ellie is just kind of like she keeps going to Well House every day and looking at all the memory. So when they take out memories, this is the thing where the show differentiates from the comic. In the comic, you open someone's head open and you literally look inside of their head. It's really cool. And you can literally pull out little memories. It's baller. So you can literally pull out little memories and like, that's how, that's how Kinsey gets rid of her fear and her sadness. She shoves them in a jar and locks them like in her dresser drawer.
Yeah.
So in the show, instead a door appears and you walk through it, it's not the same. It's kind of disappointing in my opinion, but I understand for budgetary reasons why they'd do it that way. Anyway, so in Will House, Ellie is looking at all these jar memories of Luke. And they kind of hint at how, like, time isn't linear. Because in one of the jars is Luke stabbing Ellie, saying, like, you don't even know how good this feels. Which we just saw happen.
Yeah.
But we're in the past right now, so it's really interesting. Anyway. So he comes to Well House, and he's like, I don't know why. But I remember this stupid house. I don't know why you're important. And she's like, I don't know what to do because I love you. So he knocks her out because she's useless. He puts all of his memories back in. And all hell breaks loose. The other friends of Rendell, who you, like Kim and Mark, you really don't know anything about them. He murders them. He just murders the shit out of them. That's why they're never really mentioned. They die. Actually, it's not true. They're kind of mentioned as the kids who quote-unquote drowned in the caves, because that's the cover story they used. But they get murdered by, like, Wellhouse Lady / Dodge / Zack / Luke. So, remember how I mentioned when Ellie went to the caves and she didn't know it, that glow stick revealed the body of Dodge?
Yeah.
So, Dodge at this point, he knocks out Ellie and he goes to the caves and he's like, hey, listen, bring me the Omega Key or I'm gonna murder your little brother. Now, Duncan at this time has been playing with the gender key. So he has the gender key on him. That's how Dodge gets it. I don't know if I should talk about this or not. So, this is where I get mad about the gender key in the show. So, in the comics, Luke has the gender key from picking up Duncan. He uses it to turn into a girl. It spooks Mark Cho, he's like a virgin high schooler, where he sees a naked lady, and he gets spooked, which allows Luke to kill him, basically.
Yeah.
That's why in the show, when they make it the change into whatever you fucking want key, I'm like, kind of breaks the purpose of it, but okay. Anyway, so at this point, Luke is now a lady from the gender key. She kidnapped Duncan, waiting in the caves for Rendell to give him the Omega Key. Mark is dead at this point. They all go down. Kim dies. Kim was using this key called the Angel Key that gave her wings. She tried to fly Duncan out of the caves, but she uses the Crown of Shadows and has the shadow and kills her. It's this whole fucking thing. Ellie is actually the reason she gets killed. There's this key that controls a robotic owl. I don't know the name of it, actually. I feel like it's probably... So, in the afterword of all the books, they mention the key names, and I feel like I missed it somewhere. This key controls a metallic owl. She uses it to grab the Crown of Shadows. And so Rendell, using the Hercules key, causes an avalanche on top of Luke. Now, in that same avalanche... I'm trying to think, this is like the hardest part to explain while I'm drunk. While Luke had the Crown of Shadows, he actually had Rendell held like in a bear hug by his shadow minions.
Yes.
And was using the head key to remove all of Aaron Voss's memories. That's why she has no memories.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about what happened to Aaron.
Yes. So in the cave-in, all of her memories get buried on the avalanche. And so they think all her memories are dead. Okay. But it crushes Luke to death and he dies. So there's just Rendell and Ellie left. Aaron gets put in an institution. Rendell tries to visit her daily, but it's just no use. She has no memories anymore. And it's sad because Aaron and Rendell fell in love right before that happened. And that's why in Aaron's memories you see Rendell in a heart.
Yeah.
So it's like all she has left. It's so sad. Anyway, so at the end of it, Rendell leaves. Ellie asks, like, what did you do with the Omega Key? And Rendell's like, I don't know. Now we found out from Rendell's ashes, he had put it in his head.
Yeah.
And so she asked, okay, well, did you get any whispering iron? Which is the whole reason they fucking went down there. And he's like, I did, but I couldn't make anything out of it. I made the stupid fish hook. Now this whole time, Ty has been, like, fishing down at the beach of the caves with this hook this whole time.
Yeah.
So now we know that hook looks weird because it's whispering iron. And that's important later. So now the bad news. Are you ready for the bad news?
Sure.
So in Luke's dying breath, by the way, he looks at Ellie and is like, "Why did you choose them?" And that's a lot of, like, her guilt throughout the years.
Yeah.
And also, so the reason all this started is because Luke, foreseeing he could die, takes a memory of himself and puts it in a jar, which says, you know, do not break in case of emergency. Remember the whole dildo scene?
Yeah.
So he actually, like, gives her that jar, or, like, leaves that jar behind that she ends up taking. That's how that whole fucking thing happens. Anyway, so oh yeah, Duncan. You know why Duncan remembers nothing? You know why? So after all this shit, Rendell's like, you know what? I'm gonna take all these memories out of your head because it's just a bad idea. So that's why Duncan remembers nothing. All of his memories are taken out. So during this whole time warped adventure, you know how Zach possessed Bodhi?
Yes.
During this whole thing, he's been looking for the Omega Key. He's still fucking after it.
Mm-hmm.
During it, remember Kinsey's sadness and her fear in a jar?
Yeah.
He lets them out. And while Ty is asleep, they climb in his head. So Ty goes bat shit insane for a while and tries to light Key House on fire. So Kinsey opened his head, like, not, you know, is able to get a jump on him, opens his head, finds her fear and sadness, is like, okay, these have to go back in my head before they cause more damage. During that, guess what she finds?
Oh.
The Omega Key. Ty copied his father, put it in his head. Guess who's with them when this happens? Zach Bodhi. Guess who they give the Omega Key to? Zach Bodhi. Because since Kinsey puts her fear and her sadness back in her head, she has, like, a whole meltdown, so Ty is, like, comforting her. And he's like, here, Bodhi, just hold this really quick. I gotta comfort your sister. And he has this evil little fucking grin. Because they don't know that it's Zach!
Yeah.
Hold on, I need to show you the picture of this evil bullshit! Where is it? About to be so fucking upset! Hold on, I'm about to find this. Deacon, how you holding up while I'm looking for this?
I am doing great.
How are you enjoying the story?
I'm irritated.
You can be honest. I know. Trust me. When Zach becomes Bodhi, I lose my fucking shit because I'm like, no, I know things.
Yeah.
It's so tilting. What the fuck is this scene? Fine, you can edit this out so I don't... Oh, wait, I found it! Wait. There it is. It's bullshit! It's bullshit! Look! Look at this bullshit! Look at that evil fucking stupid dumbass grin! So angry! Alright, we are up to the end of Locke and Key. I'm gonna speed through this because we are way over time. I really tried to time this well, but it's so hard because what's amazing about this series, there's so many clues. Again, with Tyler recognizing Zach, so many clues.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy that I haven't cried yet. I don't know if it's gonna last, but I'm proud of myself I haven't cried. I guess I got all my crying out before the thing. Cause I was ready to, like, sob. Are you ready for the end of the series? So. They still don't understand that Zach possesses Bodhi. Apparently the only person who actually notices is fucking Nina. The mom notices. So, here's a thing that happened in the last book. You remember Jason? The little friend Bodhi made?
Yeah.
He notices. Guess what happens to Jason?
He dies.
Jason and Bodhi are waiting at the bus stop, and Jason is like, "You're not Bodhi." And Bodhi is like, "Oh man, you're so smart." He pushes him in front of the bus. He dies. So,
Why?
Zach fucking sucks at being a 9-year-old. Because even Nina is starting to notice, like, something's weird with my 9-year-old. So, this whole time, Zach has been searching for 3 keys. The Echo Key, the Crown of Shadows, which is the most powerful fucking key, and the Omega Key, the whole point of everything. The last book is called Alpha and Omega, and that is very important later. So, Zach Bodhi finally finds the Crown of Shadows. Tyler, using the giant key, hid it on top of the lighthouse in, like, a few miles out in the distance.
Yeah.
So Zach Bodhi finds it, and his plan begins. So it's the end of the school year, they're about to have prom. And after every prom, they have a cave rave in the ocean cave as, like, an annual tradition, because they're dumbasses, Deacon. You already see where this is going. So, there are a lot of clues left here. It shows a lot of dodge Bodhi, where he finds the Crown of Shadows, he goes to the cave, and he's like, time to prep shit. He finds his skeleton, and he's like, that was old me. Old me sucked, but it's fine, I'm new me. But, guess what we see? Guess what we see behind old Zach? Do you know what we see? You remember Aaron Voss's memories that were let out all over the cave? They're still there. And they actually crawl out of the rubble. And that's gonna be important later. On top of that, Rufus gets to visit again. You know, his mom is dead. Oh my god, that's right. When Rufus's mom dies, he, like, both understands she's dead, but also is like, I need to stay with my mom until people arrive. It's super sad. Because he, like, gives her a kiss, and he's like, it's okay, Mom. It's, like, so sad. So he visits them again. He's with a social worker. The social worker's like, don't worry. Like, Rufus is going to a nice home for people like him. He's gonna be well taken care of. Remember how Rufus saw Sam Lester's ghost?
Yes.
Guess what other ghost he sees?
Bodhi.
Bodhi is like, Rufus, like, I need you to help me. Like, remember Zach? Like, he's possessing my body. And Rufus is like, this private has one last mission. And he tries to kill Bodhi. But guess who doesn't understand why he's trying to kill Bodhi? The social worker and Nina. So Rufus gets sent to the same institution as Aaron Voss instead of the group home he was supposed to go to. I know. Rufus is a sweet boy who deserves so much. And we learned a lot about Rufus here. His mom was always so good to him. His grandma would, like, burn cigarettes on him, and then Zach was abusive towards Ellie, which he obviously knows. Zach underestimates him this entire fucking story, and it comes to bite him in the ass, and I love it. It's beautiful. Anyway, so Rufus actually ends up escaping the institution. He pumps himself up and he escapes, and Aaron Voss watches him escape with her aide. And you know how she's like, white, dodge, dodge. So the aide is like, shit, this kid's trying to escape. And Aaron looks at her and is like, stop, dodge, and like runs her over with her wheelchair. It's amazing. So you can tell Aaron kind of understands what's going on, but not exactly. Anyway, so Rufus gets to escape. Now the night of horrors begins. Are you ready, Deacon? Do you have any questions, Deacon?
No, we're good.
Okay. It's prom night. Nina, the mom, has been 30 days sober at this point. She quit drinking. She did it.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool, right? So Ty is depressed because remember I don't know if you remember Jordan.
You mentioned her, yeah.
You know what it is? Like, the friends have such bit roles. So Jordan, he dated her, and then she's like, I'm a terrible bitch and you shouldn't date me, so I'm gonna sleep on this guy, so you break up with me. She's one of those characters. So they kind of break up because she sleeps with a dude. And this is the scene where he's like, you know, I still love her. And him and Duncan are working on this car, and Duncan is like, you know what? It's prom. Go make up with her. I know it's her fault, but like, go see her. See if she really loves you. Take this weird shirt. It's a tuxedo shirt because I'm a dork. I'm a gay dork. I love Duncan. Oh yeah, did I mention Brian lives? His
yes,
boyfriend.
Yeah.
Brian lives. It's very minor, but Brian lives. He's another
you
clue.
It earlier, whenever all of it happened, because you said you didn't know if you were going to remember to mention it later.
Yeah, because it's such a bit thing. Because he's the one who sees Zach try to like shoot him. It's one of those things that like you may as well just kind of read the book to see it happen. Because trying to explain it's a bitch. Anyway, so Jordan and Tyler kind of like have this out of prom thing because they're both outcasts and they sleep together. And she's like, "Listen, I'm rich. And when you get married, I'll give you a gift." And he's like, "But I love you." And she's like, "Yeah, but I'm a train wreck, so don't." And he's like, "Fuck high school." And she's like, "I know." And they have this weird moment. It's weird, whatever. This is all hell breaks loose. Okay. So back during book 3, there was a bunch of high school drama where, like, Kinsey finally showed Scott and Jamal all the secrets of Key House, and they had a fight over her. They both like her.
Yeah.
So in this book, they finally get back together. They all become friends again. They go to prom together, and it's this whole thing. So after prom, there's a rave in the cave. It's an annual rave in the cave after prom. So while they were at prom, Nina, who is sober, sees Zach Bodie trying to leave the house. And she's kind of like, "Bodie, you're fucking 9, where are you going?" And he's like, "Hey mom, you suck, I gotta go. I'm gonna shove you with a bunch of alcohol so you don't follow me." So he has the crown of shadows at the point, because he found her in the lighthouse, and he forces a bunch of shadows to shove her with liquor so she gets drunk and useless. Right, while he goes to the caves to do his master plan.
About to last.
Yep. So Kinsey comes home from prom to her drunk mom and thinks, "Thanks, Mom, you chose today to fall off the wagon. Thank you, I hate you, and after prom, I'm leaving this hellhole." So instead of staying home after prom, Kinsey's like, "You know what? Let's go to the rave in the cave." Yeah.
Wow.
Yup. So they go to the rave in the cave. And poor Nina. She's drunk out of her mind. She's trying to be like, "Kinsey, don't go." Like, she's really trying, because she's like, "My son is, like, possessed and tried to murder me." But because she's so drunk, she can actually see Ghost Bodhi. So Ghost Bodhi is like, Mom, I'm like here to help you, it's okay. And she's like, I've known these last few weeks that wasn't you, but I didn't know, she didn't really understand. She's like, something was different, and I knew in my heart it wasn't you.
Yeah.
So guess who she gets the strength through Ghost Bodhi to call? Plot detective! Yep. So, while she's calling plot detective, Ty decides to skip out on prom. He's like, I wanted to go with Jordan, but she slept with a dude, and we had this whole weird breakup. So I'm gonna work on a car with Uncle Duncan. So they're working on a car, and Kinsey goes to the rave in a cave. And while he's working in the car, he goes to have the romp with Jordan that I think I mentioned. I mentioned the romp like 5-10 seconds ago, right?
You did.
Okay. So while that's happening, or after that happens, Jordan's like, I'll meet you at the rave in a cave. And he's like, yeah, I guess I'll go. So Jordan goes to the rave in a cave, and let me tell you, 106 high school students are at the rave in a cave.
This is the dumbest fucking idea.
Yep. So, guess who crashed the party?
A 9-year-old.
Dodge / Zack / Bodhi / possessed dipshit. Using the Crown of Shadows, completely destroys the cave. And creates a winding staircase down to the door. And with every student, he creates a Shadow Lady minion to guide them down to this door. So, Jordan, are you ready for Bitroll Jordan and her heroic moment?
Sure.
So, Bitroll Jordan. At the beginning of this comic, Scott Kavanaugh is using a video recorder to make interviews for the high school whatever the fuck. Guess what she says during her interview? She says, you know what? I was a piece of shit to a guy I liked. I was a piece of shit to everybody. I would tell myself, if I could go back, to do one good deed. So, you're reminded of this several times. So flash forward to the caves. Jordan is a pyromaniac. We see this earlier because she torches the dress she's in during the romp with Tyler. It's this whole thing I don't feel like getting into. Anyway, she has a blowtorch. So, we learned earlier that the shadow beings are weak to light.
Yes.
So, she, out of reaction, tries to light them on fire and finds this out. So her, Jamal, and Kinsey all manage to group together on the last bit of scaffolding left in the cave and create some torches. Poor Scott and Jackie don't make it. They are possessed by eldritch beings. So, the three of them are up on the scaffolding, and a possessed Scott and Jackie approaches them and goes, Dodge, Lord Dodge has granted mercy on you, where you have a choice. Only 2 of the 3 of you get to live. One of you gets to touch the door and become one of us. The other gets to become a servant for us. And the third of you, which you have to pick, dies. We're gonna give you 5 minutes to make this choice. This is the whole power fantasy thing with Dodge, where he's a dipshit. They're talking and Jordan is like, you know what? I've always been the screw up, and I just want to do one good thing. And they find they're 6 stories up from the ground. And Jamal and Kinsey are like, okay, we can figure this out. Find some way down. They don't have any keys, they don't have anything. And she jumps. Sacrifice. That's how Jordan dies. Oh no! Oh shit, don't tell Leia I did that. I just knocked over. Oh no, hold on.
Rip.
Everything is fine. It's just a little... Actually, I didn't spill as much as I thought. I bopped the mic. It's fine. I cleaned it up. It's all good. Hold on.
Isn't that exactly what
actually...
I told you not to do?
It is. It's pretty close. Alright, I need one more paper towel. Actually, it didn't spill that bad, but it's hard because I get so upset, Daekon, and you're not asking questions.
I don't really have many questions. We're at the end exposition point. There's not many things for me to ask you.
Oh no, I am very drunk. You know when like you think you're not that drunk and then you realize, oh no, I am. That's where I'm at. Walking was walking was hard, but I cleaned up the mess, and that's the important part.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I did. I couldn't respond because I was walking away from the mic. But fuck you. Ask more questions. Find questions to ask. What questions do you have before? How do you think this is going to end? Tell me.
I mean, you've mentioned the memories that are essentially at the bottom of the water here, or that climbed out of the rubble or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So I feel that that's going to be important.
You're 100% fucking right. You know what's funny? I have cut probably a third of my notes and I'm still a half hour overdue. So I'm hoping... I'm almost at the end, actually. I'm really hoping that wraps up nicely. I mean, really hope
either way, it'll be fine. It's not a terrible... Like, it's not that big of a deal.
So, in the meantime... did I mention plot device detective already? I don't remember.
Yes,
I did. He comes
Nina
back.
Called him.
Yes, Nina called him. That's right. Thanks to Bodhi's help. And she's like, "Oh my fucking god, help me!" So he comes back, and this is why I call him plot device detective. You're about to find out why. What has he done this whole time?
Obsess over the death of Sam.
Right. What else?
Not really anything.
That's exactly my problem. So he comes over to help. Rufus, who escaped the message, also shows up. So they all eventually show up. But, you know how Ty had slept with Jordan after working on a car?
Yes.
So he goes back. He wants to go to the cave rave, but before he does that, he's like, let me go back. Tell my uncle I'm going. Like a responsible adult. He goes back, and the house is over-flooded with shadow minions. And they're trying to kill Duncan. Trying to kill his mom. It's this whole thing. So, you know how she called plot device detective?
Yes.
He brings a backup bitch cop who tries to shoot at the shadows. Guess who he shoots instead? Because shadows can't be shot. Ty.
Oh.
He shoots Ty. So Ty is dying. Nina's freaking out. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention, him and Duncan make it out because when he goes back to Duncan in the car shop, the car has, like, lights in the trunk, and they're all hiding in the trunk, and they get some lights and get out. So Nina, cradling her, like, dying son from this gunshot, is like, I know what'll fix him. And you know where she brings him?
Into the cabinet.
The cabinet! Good job, Daekon! And she's like, no, it's fine, it'll fix him. And, you know, plot device detective is like, oh my god, are you that drunk? This isn't gonna work. And guess what?
It works.
It works! But, while Ty is in there, guess who he sees?
Bodhi?
His dad.
Wait, what?
When Nina put his dad's ashes in there, it didn't fix him, but it healed his soul. And he grew attached to this cabinet, because it was a part of his family at that point. But he sees his dad. And his dad is like, hey, Ty. And Ty is like, I'm so sorry. And I'm going to tell you why Ty has such a harbored guilt. This is another thing they did better in the show than in the books. In the show, like I mentioned, Sam Lesser is like, literally, he's a high school kid.
Yeah.
They portray him perfectly in the show. In the books, he's like this weird, again, it's a Stephen King hillbilly. You know how Stephen King does these weird hillbilly things?
Yeah.
So that's how Sam Lester's portrayed. Joe Hill clearly gets it from his dad. Joe Hill, if by some miracle you're listening to this, I love your writing. Like, please forgive me. But your dad has some terrible ideas you inherited. And it's fine. I'm sure I have some terrible ideas too. We all do. But in the show and in the books, both of them, Ty befriends Sam before all this happens. Because, you know how his dad was a guidance counselor?
Yeah.
His dad asked his son, hey, this Sam kid could really use someone in his life to do some good. Can you please make friends with him? In the books, Ty and Sam were talking, and Sam is like, you know what? If I could, I'd kill my parents. And Ty is like, you know what? If you do that, take my dad out while you're at it. And later, when Sam and Ty confront each other back in book 1, Sam is like, remember how you said to kill your dad? I did it! Meanwhile, in the show, Ty is like, did you kill my dad because I asked? And Sam is like, what are you talking about? Because he doesn't even remember. I like that portrayal way more. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because in the comics, Ty just beats himself up and like, oh my god, my dad died because I told some weird kid to kill my dad. Meanwhile, in real life, I could imagine you forgetting that conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The show, in one of those regards, so much better. Anyway, so Ty and his dad are talking, and his dad is like, Luke was my best friend, and I was afraid. The answer was in front of me, but I was afraid. And Ty is like, what are you talking about? Like, what do I do? And his dad is like, listen, these things in the door, they're like a key. They unlock this evil side of us through themselves. But here's the thing about a key. It can be turned both ways. And that's the wisdom he leaves Ty with. And he's like, Ty, listen, I was too scared to do this, but like, I believe in you. I'm proud of the man you've become. So, you know, Ty wakes up from the cabinet. The plot device detective is like, what the fuck? How did this kid heal in a cabinet? So Ty is like, oh my god, I know what to do. They all try to leave Key House. Did I mention the fishing hook?
You did.
I did, okay. So they all try to leave Key House and they get separated. Guess what happens to plot device detective?
He gets killed.
He dies.
Yeah.
Because his usefulness is up.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And this is the part that I talk about where I'm like, you could have done so much more with this character.
His purpose is over.
His purpose is over. He dies. I'm curious what's gonna happen in the show, because he's not dead yet in the show. Granted, he does at the end of the book, so I don't know. The show leaves off halfway through this. And again, folks looking to listen to the show, it really is completely different from these books. Like, the urn scene still happens, and there's scenes that still happen in the show, but it's really, really completely different. You could watch both, and they're different experiences. Some things are the same, like Luke / Dodge / whatever the fuck being the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, so plot device detective dies. Nina hides out in her car. Ty and Duncan make it to the garage where he's like, he takes out his fishing hook. Because remember from the past scene, he saw it was Whispering Iron. And he makes a key out of it with Duncan's help. Because Duncan is actually an artist. It's brought up like 2 volumes earlier. Duncan's an artist. So Duncan actually shows him how to like meld it and turn it into a key. He also tells Duncan, he's like, you know all this shit. And Duncan's like, I do? And he's like, yeah, you actually do. You were alive during all this. And he's like, you know, I always had these weird dreams. It makes sense. So, Duncan's fantastic. Anyway. So while Nina's hiding in her car, she sees Rufus come up the driveway. And the shadows try to kill Rufus, and she drags him in the car. And she looks at Rufus and goes, you know what? You tried to kill my son, but it's because it wasn't my son. I get that now. He's like, I'm sorry, ma'am, because he talks like a soldier. And she's like, it's
Yeah.
okay, Private. I understand what your mission was. That's this really sweet moment between them. So they're hiding out in the car because the car has lights, and lights deflect the shadows. Alright. So we are officially at the end. Do you have any questions, any comments, any predictions? Before I get to the end.
Not really.
None?
I think I have like.
Tell me what your prediction is. I want to hear. You've been so quiet. Tell me.
Well, I mean, so I have things that I think.
Tell me. I want to see if you're right. I
don't
want to see if you're right. If you're not, it's okay. I had my own guesses, and they were half right. Tell me.
Okay.
Tell me.
Well, like I said, I know it's going to have something to do with these memories, but I don't. The
That's
way
okay.
that the memories play in is what I'm having a hard time figuring out. I mean, my my first initial thought was that you said that like Jordan jumped into the thingy thing and died, but I don't know.
No, she's stone cold dead. I wish
Yeah,
she
I was about to
wasn't.
say,
She's
if
stone cold
she's-
dead. It was a 6-foot drop. She's dead.
Yeah.
I wish she weren't, because she's one of those characters where, like, she didn't have much meaning, but she did this heroic thing in the end, and, like... But you're right. Aaron Voss's memories play a huge part in this.
But yeah, I mean that's the only thing I don't know is how they're going to come back and play
Alright.
into it, because I have a couple like I said, I had a couple like ideas, but they've been debunked.
Right. So, Kai's making his key. Meanwhile, in the caves, Jamal and Kinsey are brought to Dodge. And they look at Dodge and they notice all the high school students are being held upside down in these, like, shadow traps. They look at Dodge and they're like, I thought you wanted to make an army. Dodge looks at them and goes, you know, I did at first. But then I started to experience being human. I made love, I ate food, I walked in the beautiful air, and I realized if I brought my brethren over, the other children of Lang over, they would just destroy this world. You know, when I was a baby, my mother ate all of my siblings, and then I ate her, and I ate my dad. Because that's just what my world is like. We're
Gross.
monsters. And we have chaos. And I don't want chaos here. I have learned there is so many amazing things here I want to control and own. So instead, I'm gonna enslave you, and you're gonna make keys for me. You're gonna make a key that turns me into a god. And you're gonna make me a key that makes humans immortal. But in exchange for that immortality, they'll become slaves to me. And
Gross.
that's what I'm gonna do. So, at this point, I think I mentioned Scott and Jackie are evil now.
Yes.
They are possessed by the beings from the other world. Jackie possesses the angel key. It gives her wings, like Kim had. And Scott has the Hercules key. It makes him super strong. So they tell Kinsey and Jamal, one of you is going to touch that door and become one of my brethren. The other, I'm going to take all your memories out and put one of my memories in you, and you're going to become my slave. Which is it? So this whole scene, and, you know, Kinsey I expected so much more out of, and they kind of make her a weak bitch at the end, which sucks. She's like, I don't want to be like Aaron, just, like, make me one of your weird key bitches. And he's like, you know what, because you're pleading this, no. I'm gonna make you one of my slaves. It's a whole, like, weird scene. Also, I'm gonna trigger warning y'all. Again, there are mentions of, like, sexual assault, specifically rape. For example, in the comic, again, Nina is raped in the beginning, it's mentioned, versus the show where she's not, which is so much better. But also in the end here, Zach / Luke / like weird demon shit is like, well, you know what? When you're all brainless, I'll just rape you all. It's like some dumb shit. Again, it's that Stephen King writing where I get mad at it. But anyway, so, like, that's just a trigger warning for anyone who wants to read this, that it is in that. I don't want to leave you all blind. That being said, I do still recommend it as a book, because it's not like this prevalent theme, at least. Just kind of like weirdly mentioned, just dumb. Like, it won an Innie. It's such a good series. I really have high praises for it, despite its flaws. It's my favorite comic series to date. But, that being said, so finally, Ty makes it down to the caves. He's unarmed. He's alone. And he walks up to Dodge. Dodge looks at him and goes, "Really? You came alone? I knew you were a jock idiot, but really?" And they have this moment where they talk. And Ty is just so fucking smart. The key he made, he hides in his hat. So Evil Scott looks at him and goes like, "Oh, I don't see any weapons or anything." And Ty tries talking to him and is just like, "You know, like, you were so cocky and that's gonna be your downfall." And Dodge is just like, "I'm gonna take you over, bitch." And Ty is like, "You say that, but you're not." You know why? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? You remember Aaron Voss's memories?
Yes.
Guess what she has a memory of? Having the angel key. Being able to fly. So she flies up and grabs the crown of shadows off of Dodge's head. Because you find out that thoughts can survive things like rubble falling on them. They can survive damage because they're immaterial, they're immaterial.
Yeah.
So they survived this whole time, just lost in this dark cave. And Ty, on his way down, found them. And they helped him. So they grabbed the crown of shadows off of Dodge. And Dodge is like, "What the fuck?" And Ty takes the key from under his hat while everyone is stunned and shoves it into Evil Scott's chest. And you see a giant A appear in his chest, because this key is called the Alpha Key. And do you know what it does? Do you remember how when a spirit, Eldridge dipshit, has no body to possess, it becomes a whispering iron?
Yeah.
This key unlocks the spirit from the soul. It takes that evil spirit and detaches it. You know how we saw it attached to Luke's soul?
Yeah.
This key removes that. Unfortunately, it turns it back into whispering iron inside of a person. So even though it frees their soul, their body becomes filled with this whispering iron and it dies. So in exchange for freeing the soul, it kills the body. It's the best Ty could do.
Yeah.
So while he's unlocking Scott, and Scott is remembering who he is, the Hercules key actually keeps him alive for quite a bit. Because he's so strong and powerful, but this, like, gooey iron is leaking from his eyes and his mouth. And he's like, "I know you tried, Ty. Like, thank you. You freed me from this being." And it gets real, Deacon!
Okay.
They go fighting, it's a big scene. They go punch everything. Dodge is scared shitless and runs. Ty and everyone, they start unlocking all the other high school students who were kept under control. You know, they die, unfortunately, but their soul is freed, which is the important part. They're no longer trapped by this evil spirit. So while Dodge is running, guess who fucking catches him? You wanna know who?
Who?
He runs out of the caves. And good old Rufus
Aww.
grabs him. Do you remember what Dodge is? Dodge/Luke/Zach is an echo. He is not real.
Oh, okay.
So, knowing this, Ty leaves the cave after they kind of like went through everyone. Scott, oh my god, I'm trying not to cry. Scott finally dies. The whispering iron filling his body kind of finally takes over, but he does finally free Jackie. So Scott and Jackie did end up dating in the end, and it's sad they both die. They kind of die in each other's arms. And he frees her. And it's super sad. Out of the 106 students, like 48 of them die.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So Rufus grabs Dodge Bodhi. And Ty comes up and he has the well key and they go over. And Dodge is freaking out. He's like, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna kill all of you. You think this is the end of me? They walk through the well door and his echo is released and dissipates, leaving Bodhi's body. But Bodhi's ghost isn't anywhere to be seen. Now, during all of this, remember how the shadows attacked Key House with everything?
Yeah.
In the fight to bring light, the house got lit on fire. So the house actually burned down. It alerted the fire department. They kind of came down. They sedated all the kids who were freaking out. It became this whole thing.
Yeah.
So, 2 days later, it flash forwards to Bodhi's funeral. And the, 48 kids who died, it's their funeral. Everyone's having funerals. Nina's a mess, and Ty and Kinsey, and they're all together as a family. I'm trying not to cry. It's okay. It's so hard. Okay.
Do you need a minute?
No, I'm okay. They hear me cry. At least I'm not even up to the part that I'm really gonna cry about. It's coming up. So they were able to free everyone, the 48 students who were possessed, they were able to free them, but they quote-unquote died. It was covered up as the cave collapsed during this high school annual rave bullshit. So Jamal and Kinsey survive, and they're actually dating. Jordan, Jackie, and Scott died. A lot of fucking kids died. They actually show them. Some of the kids try to stand up to the shadows, and they just fucking get murdered. It's this whole thing. And Bodhi is dead. And they're grieving. And Ty goes back to Key House, because the well house is still there. So he goes back to the well house. He uses the echo key. And he summons Luke back. And Luke comes back. And he's ready to kill Tyler. He is ready. He's like, you wanna go, bitch? Let's do this. Are you fucking kidding me? You ruined my plans. I'm gonna murder the shit out of you. They have a fight. And Tyler finally unlocks him with the Alpha Key. And Luke is finally set free from the Eldritch horror that possessed him. Oh, don't cry, Jen. So Luke and Ellie were really in love. Oh god, don't cry, Jen. And Ty is holding Luke during his dying breaths, and he's like, I did so much pain. I didn't want to do that, but it both made me, but it also unlocked this deep part of me that did it. And Tyler's like, listen, it's okay, no one blames you, you just, this thing happened, and it's what it is. And Luke is like, it's like, I'm gonna find Ellie. I'm gonna spend an eternity apologizing to her. And it's so sad. I'm crying. That line just kills me, where he's like, I'm gonna find her, and in the afterlife, I'm gonna spend an eternity apologizing to her, and it's so brutal. The waterworks are here, chat. Oh no. But, you know what else happens? They actually go back down to the cave and they collect all of Erin's memories. And they bring them back to her. And they make her whole again, so she's able to leave the mental institution. And the aides actually ask her, they're like, where are you going? And she's like, I'm gonna go live my life. And she's whole again. And she has, and just... What else? Oh yeah, Ty also uses the Echo Key to see his dad. And they have words. You know, they explain the whole cabinet thing where he's like, you know, my soul just kind of attached to it, and he says how proud he is of him, and that, you know, he was able to fix all the mistakes he made. And they hug it out. And, last but not least, do you remember the wolf scene?
Yeah.
With all the birds?
Yeah.
One bird was left over, and it made friends with Bodhi's ghost. That bird reaches Tyler and brings him to the ghost door. So he opens it, and the bird flies to the ghost door, and it dies. And Bodhi possesses that bird, and the bird is like, it's okay, you know, I want to be dead and united with the rest of my flock. And then Bodhi's bird brings him to the cabinet. He puts the bird in the cabinet. And it makes Bodhi whole again, and Bodhi gets to come back to life.
Aww.
And so they get to be happily ever after. Basically, Nina and Tyler and Kinsey and Bodhi.
Jesus Christ.
That's the end.
I mean, I've said forever about, like, Stranger Things. I've always been like, somebody fucking help the Byers family. God damn, somebody help the fucking Locke
family.
Jesus Christ.
I know. It's the whole thing is just again, I'm actually proud of myself. Two of the three things that would make me cry, one of them I cried over. And it's Ellie and Luke. I figured
you were going to cry at the end of the thing anyway.
Ellie and Luke, just I weep so, especially because again Luke. We all understand why I'm crying over that. It's just... Oh my god. It's such a good story, and I'm both excited and torn where the Netflix series is gonna go, because they changed a lot. I don't want to talk too much about it, because I want you to be able to watch the show and experience it, but they changed a lot of things that kind of upset me, like... You know how I mentioned how adults can't see the magic of Key House?
Yeah.
They break that in the show, and I'm like, fuck. There's like things they break where I'm like, why are you doing this to me? And also, so they actually got separate actors for Luke and the Wellhouse lady, like the gender swap. They got separate actors for them. It's not the same actor, just CGI'd. They're two different actors, right? Okay. Clearly, the lady actor was a killer actress where they needed to hire her. So then, they just kind of hired someone who looked like her, and the male actor fucking sucks. And I'm like, Luke is a charismatic, like, amazing character, and you're ruining this for me. So I'm just... And the girl who I guess is supposed to be Jordan, to like do something different with her. I'm so frustrated by the show, but I'm trying not to be. If you plan on watching this show and you haven't read the books, I recommend watching the show first so you're not frustrated. You know, like,
Yeah.
Anyway, so, what do you think of Locke and Key? Tell me your thoughts.
It definitely sounds like something that I would be interested in.
Oh my god, yes. If there's some way you can read it. Like, if it's on Comixology, I'll give you my subscription to read it. It's so fucking good. I'm gonna check now, actually. So, Deacon, what did you learn?
I was keeping notes of things that I learned along the way. But I kind of gave up on that.
You know what? It's a lot because they leave you so many clues. And again, they try to distract you with the high school drama. that you like miss things.
But I mean, never trust magical women in a toilet.
Yes, exactly. Never trust magical women.
Just God. Never underestimate the intelligence of jocks, I guess.
Yeah, Ty is. I keep interrupting you, but Ty is such a good character, which is surprising.
It isn't healthy to remove your fear and your sadness.
No. And so in the show, they represent it differently, where she just removes her fear. I don't want to talk too much about the show, but like, again, Sam is so much better in the show than in the comics. A million times better. I like that it's just him and not some weird guy who also dies, but I like that he's not just some redneck, which is, again, a Stephen King thing. He's like an actual high school student. They do so much better in the show with that, but like... like, just... Ugh! The show disappoints me, Deacon. If I can say... If you have a choice between the show and the comic, I do recommend the comic more. I really do. Because the show left me with so many questions versus the comic where I'm like... This was all perfectly explained. And granted, the show's not over yet, but it just... Again, the gender key, right?
Yeah.
If you had a key that could turn into anything, right? Anything... And he clearly uses that to become a completely different person at some point. Why would you just become a female of yourself? Like, in the comic, it's just a gender key, so he has no choice. That's why he just becomes a female of himself. And I don't know if I went into it because I'm drunk, but with Mark's like a virgin, so when he becomes a naked lady, Mark is like, boner town, and it like throws him off and he dies over it. So I look at the show and I'm like, where are you going with this? Because also, in the show, Mark is alive in the beginning, and I'm like, what the fuck? So, I don't know what they're doing.
But, no, like, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. If you had something that you could turn into anything, like, you best believe I would be turning into, like, Daekon.
Yeah! Like, why would you just become a gender swap of yourself? Like, I don't know. And again, maybe I'd believe you were that confident of yourself if the male actor they got for you was great, but he sucks. The male actor reminds me of this kid who, like, stalked me when I was in high school. Like, he's just a creeper. And I'm like, you picked a terrible person for Luke because you just like the female actor for Wellhouse Lady, and I'm mad about it. And I don't want to rip on the show too much because, again, like, if you watch the show before you read the comics, you'll probably like it more. It's because I read the comics first, and I'm rarely like this. Usually, I'm happy either way, where I'm like, oh, that was a different take, but, like, the show genuinely got me mad. Genuinely. I'm trying to message my wife for her Comixology login. If you like comics, read the comics. They're very good. I got the collector's edition of it, which came in a cool box, which I showed off to Deacon.
Yeah, it is a cool box. But yeah, like I said, I mean, but yeah, I it does sound like something that I would like super enjoy.
Especially the visuals. Like, I showed you some of the visuals. Like, the art is just so good. But yeah, so what I've been talking over you. What did you think? I know you said it was something you would enjoy, but any commentary, anything else, or like?
Well, I mean, like I said, I had a couple ideas along the way of how things were going to go, and then they were like getting debunked, so I really wasn't mentioning them. But well, like I said, I mean, I mentioned the thing about like Tyler and the Omega Key thing, making it like removing the memory of it, but it was sort of the other way around. And things like that, like they were just slowly being debunked as we went along.
It's so good. Like, I just love this series so much. I need more comics like it.
But I will say that like the things that didn't go the way that I think that they were going to go in my head, like, went better than I thought that they would go.
Yeah. The balls thing killed me. But that was how Ty got suspicious. That one slayed me, where I'm like, are you kidding me? Wolf balls?
I mean, whenever, like I said, when I'm sort of the opposite of that. Like, whenever I watch or read something and I'm like, oh, I know where this is going, and then it doesn't go there, I'm like, oh, that's not as good as what I thought. Like when I ruined Grave Encounters.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I laughed at that, because I love Grave Encounters, but I'm not... What kills me about Grave Encounters is when, like, what's-her-name starts asking for her mom. And I had a friend who laughed at that, but I'm like, no, that's, like, some real, like, just deep wound shit just thrown in there.
Yeah.
And she disappears for no reason, which, I'm not gonna lie, I deeply was satisfied when you made fun of that.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed it, and this is probably something, because I don't read comics.
Yeah.
And the reason that I don't read comics, I've sort of touched on before, but my dad used to have a comic book collection, and he would, like, refuse to let me touch it, and so as a result, I was like, I'm just not ever going to read comics. But, so, thank you so much for explaining Locke and Key to me. Like I said, this is something I'm probably going to check out.
Yeah. I recommend, again, if you don't plan on reading, if you want to watch the show and read the comic, I do recommend watching the show first, because I hate to be that guy, but the show is worse than the comic. So if you do it the other way around, you'll be disappointed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're gonna do both, I recommend the show first. I think you'll have a better time.
But that being said, if you are listening to this on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe, and you can also leave a comment down in the doobly-doo. If you're listening to this anywhere else, be sure to catch our other podcasts on the Fierce Ferrets website, fierceferrets.com. We have a couple over there.
We do Call the Void for your spoops.
Yep.
We have other Drunk Fandom episodes. I think you should be able to catch them all on Drunk. But we also have Last Light, which is a sci-fi campaign.
Which both myself and Batclam play in. And yeah.
Comics and other cool stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of cool stuff on FierceFerrets.com.
You can check out their comics. They're over there too. They're also on Webtoon.
You can also support us on the Patreon. Also, shout out to our sponsor, your Patreon, Ejikuma. You will keep the channel growing and the content flowing, along with our other Patreons. But the only we specially shout out that sponsor tier. But we also have a lot of cool other rewards with our other tiers, which again, you can all find out on FierceFerrets.com.
Yeah. With that, I think that's pretty much everything. We love you guys. Thank you for listening.
We're making little heart emojis with our hands, but you can't see it because it's a podcast. So have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching our video. Now to give a special shout out to our sponsor tier patrons. Nejikuma, we appreciate all the support you give to us. You keep the channel growing and the content flowing. If you want to be alerted to when we post a new video, make sure to ding that bell next to the subscribe button. If you like the content you see here, then consider tossing us a follow on twitch.tv/FierceFerrets.
And if you're really feeling the ferrety love, please consider supporting our work at patreon.com/FierceFerrets. We don't make any money here on YouTube, so we rely on the generosity of our Twitch and Patreon subs, listed in these credits here, to bring more quality entertainment to you. And you'll get some great rewards for helping out. Thanks again, friends!
And we'll see you next video.